Sit back and relax as you listen to Train Kickers Podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Stan and Steve, we're going to take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, we're going to start a deeper dive into Titanicus, and in particular, we're going to go through the different Maniples that they have, with the hope that later we'll be able to actually dig more into the rest of these books. And now, on to the show. All right, gentlemen, and how are you on this now new recording night we had to do this week of Thursday night?
Oh, fine. Just, hanging in, painting, building, going nuts. You know how it is.
Why are you going nuts?
Oh, because I decided to buy a model that I maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Underestimated its size.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a cool model. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. It's a really cool model. Well worth it. But Jesus, it's huge, so.
Dan, it sounds like you took a calculated risk, but you're bad at math.
Yeah, no. So it's supposed
So
to be
how big is this thing?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be an archdemon for 30k because I wanted to start a Khorne army, Crimson Fury, and I bought and because Forge World actually doesn't make it anymore. Funny enough, they actually removed it from the site right when I wanted to order it. But it's a Vorgoroth the Scarred, and then basically I was going to use it as an archdemon, and it looked really cool in the photos. It's basically a huge Khorne dragon, and I was like, that's perfect for an archdemon. Just rip out the person on the top, the human on the top, replace it with a demon riding, which I did. It's going to look awesome. I got it, and I built it, and the thing is like the fucking size of a Warhound. The base of it is a 280 millimeter by 210 millimeter base.
Okay. Have you actually measured it itself?
No, that's what it's recommended. There's a cool little Age of Sigmar like recommended base size thing.
No, that's fine. But I mean, have you actually measured with a measuring tape the model?
Yeah,
I'm curious
no,
the actual physical size.
Oh yeah. So from top of the wings arch up a little. They don't like splay outward.
Yeah.
But they kind of arch up then down. From bottom of the foot to the top of the wing is 14 inches. From head to tail, it is 18 inches. And across the wing, it's 16 inches, and across the wingspan is 19 inches.
What?
Big boy.
And your thought is to use this in a game, not a display piece to put on top of like one of your cabinets.
First of all, it's an Age of Sigmar model. It's used in Age of Sigmar. It's a 280 by 210 base. He's got rules and everything. It's Vorgoroth. You could look it up on the Sigmar.
No, I know. We've talked about him before.
More than 10 inches for the base. Right?
No. 280 millimeter? Hold on.
Yeah, because 25 mil is 1 inch.
Yeah.
So 254 would be 10 inches.
I still contend that my favorite part is when
11 inches. It's 11 inches.
Yeah.
That's big.
It is big. I can't use him in Zone Mortalis.
What? I'm sure you could find a spot to deploy it. All the hallways are only 4 inches wide.
It's fine. I think what's a 60 mil base? It only fits a 60 mil base. So what's a 60 mil base?
And I dare you to show up with that model to the event.
That is
won't be painted. But yeah, no, I bought it. I love it though. It's a great model. Like the detail on it is unbelievable. Like under every dragon scale, there's like skulls buried under. It's hard to explain the beauty of the model, but it's also fucking large. So
that's a big model. That sounds like a ton of work, and we had to try to convince you to use an airbrush on some of it if the weather was a little nicer. I still can't believe you don't have any windows in your basement.
Well, I do. I just don't want to crack them.
You don't want to open a window?
Oh god, they're so hard to open, and they're like, oh my god, they're like nailed shut. Not nailed shut, but they're just so hard to open.
Oh my god! You open one window. You open one. You put a hood. You use one of the hoods, and it works fine.
Just run a snorkel up the stairs and through your kitchen. It's fine.
Oh Jesus! So Steve, what are you doing?
Me? Oh, I'm working. Well, I'm doing good. I'm working on Hold on, I have an Excel sheet here that adds up the numbers. There are 380 Carthaginian models that I've recently added to my hobby backlog in 10 mil scale because I don't like waiting for international shipping. So I figured I'd buy everything I could possibly need at once.
It's a good idea.
I also took a calculated risk, and I am also very bad at math. I thought those would be like 200 models. I put on like 10 bases. It's more like 20 or 30 bases worth of infantry. This is insane.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is it? 10 infantry per base?
I'm doing 24 per base.
Oh my god.
It's 4-inch by 2-inch base. I'm running them in a game called Warband. I think I've mentioned it before by Pendraken.
Mhm.
Absolutely love the game. It's a fantasy battle game, but we're basically going to be playing it without mages and without flying units. And then it's a pretty good approximation for a historical game, honestly, because it's just straightforward like that.
Yeah.
So these are my quote unquote high elves. Should be fun.
That does sound like fun.
I'll have to teach you, Dan, right after you teach me Epic.
Yeah, you need to learn Epic.
It's all just tiny scales of future and past. That's all that is.
I taught Dave Epic.
Yeah.
I taught Dave Epic on DPS.
Yeah. Overall, it was reasonably easy. Some of the difficulties, honestly, are just the amount of units you can get in, the amount of special rules some of the units have, some of the differences. Parts of that are very unintuitive. They're not too bad when you learn them, but when you are starting to learn it or just staring at it, the sheet is an incomprehensible mess. But that's also older 40K style where you just had a lot of special rules. So, and overall, it was good. It was fun. We were still playing far below the points level we should have, so each game was a blowout, somewhat one way or the other. But
to be fair, the first game we played, you forgot like 90% of.
Oh yeah, I forgot most of the things that I did. I forgot that
make them Necrons.
Yeah, I forgot that we come back. I forgot that I forget if the word is actually fearless or what word they use, but essentially fearless and all that does.
Teleporting, you got the hang of teleporting really well, and portals.
Yes,
that one you got pretty well.
That was a bigger bonus I think it was Saltec I was using that they have, because they even have a rule when you teleport. Each teleport option is once per turn, but you can go in one and like out of the other, so you actually have a lot more board mobility. Where the very first game didn't do any of that. So. And I brought the first time was like the barbecue or whatever. One of the other things was just the Abator, which I don't like. The Aeon Sphere is much better.
It's the Arbiter is like really good for like if you want something to pop up in the middle of the fucking enemy army and then start shitting out things, that's what you would use. But other than that, I'd rather use the what is it called, the Aeonic Orb. That was
the Aeonic Orb.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. It does a lot of good. It can put down a lot of damage. It is very survivable, and you already have so many other units that can either teleport in or can portal units in and all of that. You don't need one more. In my mind, I want to say they're in both lists. I think they're the same points. They're both like 600 points. I'd rather be able to throw down damage from range rather than one more thing for teleporting. Or sorry, for portaling, because that's technically a portal. Not teleport. But no, it's a good game. At some point, maybe I'll get some stuff printed and try it out. But I'm still trying to accumulate normal-sized Necrons for spring break next week to sit down and work on those. That and Elden Ring. There's been no hobby progress in 2 weeks. It is all Elden Ring.
Yeah, I've been playing Guild Wars 2, the new expansion.
You've been fishing. So. Just call it as it is.
Shut up. I have been fishing. I've been fishing for hours. But I'd like to say that I've caught so many fish. Man.
I've been trying to figure out what do they call them in Elden Ring? I forget what you're called, but the story in those games from From Software have always been very, periphery or very obscure and all. This one's probably maybe a little bit more forefront, but it's still don't
It's
get
the
it.
same people that make Dark Souls, right? It's the same
Yes,
people that make
Dark
Oh,
Souls,
yeah, no, the
Bloodborne,
lore in that,
and
the
Sekiro.
lore in that is very actually. But you know what I do like about it? I don't know. I haven't seen videos on Elden Ring. Is it still very like Cthulhu-esque? Not, I shouldn't say Cthulhu, but what's the word I'm looking for?
It
Eldritch.
is no, even the ones before. If you think of when I think of Dark Souls, I think maybe Cthulhu in the fact that there are monsters and there are hidden horrors and all of that. Sure, but it's really a somewhere between mid to high fantasy world with a very dark tone. Not only just in terms of story, like there's literally almost no one who's ever happy, and if they are happy, they're probably super evil or something. But even just the look of it itself, they essentially, put very dark filters over the whole game. This is very similar in that nature. It looks like one of their games. It doesn't exactly look like Dark Souls, but it has the overall look of a From Software game, or at least from their main batch, the same way that Bloodborne did, and very similar to the way Sekiro did.
Oh God, Bloodborne was a great game. I also love that game a lot.
It's from people who've played more of these, I have heard that it's some ways more challenging. Just because a part of that is because as their games have went on, they've made themselves a little bit less predictable with the way that certain enemies work. So in the first one, enemies moved in, they all have a pattern. You can learn the pattern. You can figure out what to do about it. But they had, I think, just a little bit more of predictable patterns. They weren't trying to feint as much, and their movements were a little bit more easier to predict and all. This, it feels a little bit more difficult. Now, one, it's an open world, or much more open world. So, hey, if it's difficult where you are, just leave. Go somewhere else. Go run around. You have a horse. You can outrun anything on foot that I've come across. And if you're careful, you can outrun ranged projectiles as well. So go find some good weapons. Go find, some things to help you level up, get stronger, then come back. I'm playing a mage.
God, I would love to do that in real life.
Yeah, it's too tough. Just leave. Just come back
It's
later.
too difficult. Just die.
Yep.
I know our friend found the what did he call it? The Lord of the Rings Witcher set.
Yeah.
What did he call it?
Witch King of Agmar.
Witch King of Agmar, yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing a mage build, so I'm good if I can be away from people. If I'm in the open. Where I'm struggling right now, and not to do any spoilers, where I'm struggling right now, I'm fighting a guy in a very small room, which magic is a little bit slow to cast. At least the good spells are slow to cast. So he's on me before I can cast, so it means I have to actually, get good at dodging, blocking, and trying to hit with my melee weapon. So I've been trying to up that, because I do need to get through this spot. This is a forced small battle. There are, tons and tons of bosses around, and you could avoid almost every one of them and almost every big enemy, except for some. This guy's a smaller enemy, but you have to fight him, and it's just tried it a few times and I'm like, I'm just gonna come back later. But next week, like I said, I have the whole week off, so I'm gonna try to actually get some hobby stuff done. Not play Elden Ring 5 to 10 hours a day. I make no promises.
Yeah, you're not fucking. I said I wasn't gonna fish. I said I was gonna go work. I did finally get my war turtle from Guild Wars, and I said I promised myself I would not use the war turtle to fish.
You fished on that war turtle, aren't you?
I fucking fished on the war turtle. Of course
you
I
did.
did. Of course I fucking did.
It's a giant turtle. It's go wade out into the middle of a lake.
I just started bombing the lake. That's the
So
best way to fish.
you fish like people used to do with dynamite, where you just drop it in the water and just kill everything in a certain radius.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is not fishing. That is actually catching. Oh my god.
Oh man.
All right. Did anyone do anything else? Because like I said, I didn't do anything.
Nope. Steve?
No.
All
All I do is collect my mail.
There we go.
Upcoming stuff? Is there anything big upcoming I mention?
Not towards Titanicus, at least. I mean, there's always other things in different game systems, and I'd like to start doing some other times where we talk about some of those. If someone's got something big, we can talk about it shortly, of course.
I'm doing a Titanicus tournament in
yeah.
April. I'm just trying to figure out whether I'm doing it the 9th or the 16th. I'm leaning towards the 9th.
Okay. I might actually be able to
February,
finally
March,
come out for
April,
one of those, as long as the wife
9th.
doesn't have a show.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. So one thing I'd have to check. I don't know if she has a show that weekend, but I'll find out.
If you can, man, come through. Dan will tell you that it's not terrible.
Yeah.
No, I do love. I was going to say.
Damn! Don't you walked away? Talk when you get back here. Oh, he is irresponsible.
No, I'm back. I'm back.
Now
no. I knocked the microphone away from my mouth. Because I kind of did this. Whoops.
You know we can't see it, right? You just said I did this.
Fucking emulating something you can't say. No, you should definitely come. I know you love Titanicus, but he does some really good fucking events. The space elevator one was just, it was such a good, such a good event. I'm not trying to like make his head bigger, but it was really good.
As long as the wife doesn't have a show that weekend, I'll definitely go. That's really what it boils down to, because her work can be weekend based. But if not, I can easily go. Because my job has never been weekend based. But I mean, there's been some other big news. If anyone follows any other games, the only other, in my mind, what would be the biggest thing? I mean, 40K, that's always the obvious stuff. You know, okay, Eldar just came out. They're talking more and more about Tyranids. They'll be the next thing out. In X-Wing, they have now done their X-Wing 2.5. And they finally did something I've been waiting on forever, which is missions. It is no longer I shoot you, you shoot me, and we see who records the most points in terms of kills or half hull and all that. Yeah, they now have a set of missions. They changed the way that you build squads now. You build off of if anyone's super into X-Wing, I might get a little bit of this wrong, but you build off of 20 points. So what happens is you choose a ship with a pilot in it. You know, you choose 10 nub and a B-wing. He costs X amount of points of your 20-point squad. He has a set amount of essentially upgrade points attached to him. And then that's when you go and look at your different system slots and all of that to actually give him his upgrades.
Okay.
A lot of the other rules they kept very similar. I think it's max 7 ships, I think. Minimum is now 3. Minimum used to be 2. They now require you to have 3 ships.
Aw.
2-ship builds, don't get me wrong, there were some very, very good 2-ship builds, Fat Han and stuff like that in the past. But I don't think it fits the style of the game they want to see. So, makes sense that they're trying to mold the game. I have not gone through the missions.
No, I said, no, I'll let you finish. I was going to add some news.
Oh, yeah, I haven't gone through the missions at all. I'm actually probably getting rid of some more X-Wing stuff just because I have so many games. Like, I'll play it online and all. But with all that I have, I'm just not going to get around to it much. And if I ever pick it up again, might even just do a different faction or something like that. But that's the only real big news. Like, I know A Song of Ice and Fire, they came out with their new update that they did. So they rebalanced some stuff, which was greatly needed. But those I'd like to be able to go into more on that in a separate sort of thing. You said you had some sort of news though.
Oh, real quick, I just realized before I talk about the news, I was going to talk about Games Workshop did send out a balance for Kill Team, which was greatly needed. Which I thought was really cool because what they did was they basically added an extra body or 2 to kill teams. You know, having only 5 Space Marines when your opponent has like a bunch of it doesn't make sense, especially when you compare them points wise in 40K.
Yeah.
So most armies basically got an extra body or an extra 2 bodies, which was really good. It's actually needed.
Yeah. I know Necrons have free reanimation now. It used to be 1 CP, I think, but now it's 0 CP.
I think it was 2 CP actually, but
it's 2. Yeah, it's 0 now.
Yeah, that's a really big change.
That's a swing.
GW, or not GW. So the biggest thing, since we're not sponsored by GW, I can talk about this shit all I want.
But GW, if you ever listen, you want to sponsor us, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, you want to sponsor us, but I'm going to be talking about this shit because you're not. There was some massive leak, right, in the 30K world, where someone leaked, apparently there's been a leak, not apparently, because hypothetically I may have seen it. the 30K rulebook has been leaked.
Oh wow.
Yes.
I know they leaked a lot
Um,
about like I've seen tons of leaks all over the place related to what the different chapters were going to do or legions and all, but I didn't see the actual
the
book,
entire goddamn rulebook. And first of all, I want to point out that GW is pissed.
which means
Um,
it's real.
yeah, like they like I think they subpoenaed people's emails. Like we're talking next level, like angry. Um, yeah. So, but yeah, no. And it's really cool because I like the fact that it's stirring up. I shouldn't say controversy, but it's stirring up a lot of discussion. Especially because now that when one rumor happens, people are suspicious, but when the same rumor pops up multiple different times, worded the same way, it gets to start being like, okay, this is definitely going to be a thing.
Yeah, there's truth to it.
And especially when there are pages that all of a sudden confirm said rumor from the book. Um, but I like the fact that people are talking about it. Some things are good, some things are bad. Everyone has a different opinion, I swear to God. And that's a good thing, you know. Some people hate this but love this. Other people, love what they hate and hate what the other person loves.
Mm.
I like the fact that everyone is finding like something that they love the change of but hate something else. You know what I mean? Because it makes it seem like it's good in a way. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Well, you want things to be at least a little divisive because what the last thing you want is everyone to latch on and there's nothing wrong with everyone liking it. Ideally you want everyone to like it, but what you don't want, if everyone likes the same exact things about all of it, that usually means it might lead to a little bit of a boring game. You want there to be reasons why you might go for one faction, one legion, one army, whatever you want to call it, than another. You want a little bit of interest. What you hope you don't get is to a level where there's people saying that this, that, or the other thing is absolute bullshit, and that
Yeah.
creates a more toxic environment.
For me, so like for the big, I'm not gonna say the fight, but the big thing I'm loving, and it's like this is the big controversy I'm dealing with, is that I have never been a fan of end of the game scoring. For
That's
one or two
terrible.
missions, I'm okay with. I'm okay. For one or two missions, fine. It's fluffy, it's flavorful, but almost every single mission has end of the game scoring in 30K, with the exception, I think, of one mission. And I just don't like that. I think that's stupid. I think it's feel bad because you play the entire game, and you might lose on turn one because you lose your troops. It's just to me, it's feel bad, and I just don't like it.
It's an old style.
And Dan, bring some scoring units, god damn it.
Scoring
Stop
units
bringing
here
beep
are a bit
boops.
expensive. No, I could bring sisters, but no, it's like again, it's like we play this whole game, but then on turn five, it's like, oh, let me hit the objective because that's the only thing that matters, not the fact that I killed your HQ who's been living for 10,000 years and we've had a huge grudge. No, not that. It's kind of like I don't know. It doesn't feel narrative to me, right? Dynamic scoring to me feels like the battle is actually taking place. There are moving pieces. Things need to happen. Um, but anyway, yeah, that's what I've been going back and forth with the 30K community with. I've been
Now,
going back and forth with that.
I don't follow the 38K community.
Yeah.
How have they felt just related to there being spoilers? So not what are in the spoilers themselves, but how does the community react to the
So
fact that all this stuff is being
I,
spoiled?
I'll,
Mixed.
yeah, I will. No, you know what? But I
Very
will say
mixed.
it's very mixed, but I will say it's one side more than the other, and that side is they're enjoying the leak.
Okay.
And I think the reason is because GW has
It's something to
literally
talk about.
Yeah, exactly. GW has starved us for 30K news for such a damn long time. And we know there's been a 30K rulebook because the stupid leak of the box set came out so many months ago. So it's not like we didn't know something was in the works, but we've been like just begging for something. Every time there's been a games or an opens day, right? We're like, oh, okay, 30K news, 30K rule set, just announce it, but they just keep not announcing it. So finally,
Um,
when it got leaked, we were like, well, sucks to be you, but now, but here's the thing. And again, this is where people are like, oh, I don't like the fact that it leaked. This hurts GW's bottom line. But at the same token, I'm thinking to myself, I have never seen people more excited to start 30K than right now talking about the leaks.
all right. So
And that's just the honest truth.
yeah, we're doing a bit of a side into leaks, and I think that's a worthwhile discussion. I I don't think in a world where a rule set is reasonable and reasonably balanced and reasonably good, not a giant pile of crap. If your rule set and all is reasonably good, then I think leaks help you. You're not turning people away. If people are getting hyped about what they see, then they're more willing to get in. I think the only time a leak like that really hurts you is, one, potentially your reaction to it, or two, if it leaks and it's 6 months or so until, say, the book comes out. Because then people might have literally played, kind of played their fill of it for the time being before it's actually even officially there. There's a good example of that was for Song of Ice and Fire previously. So COVID has me forget exactly when this all occurred. I want to say it was the 2021 update. But there was leaks related to that long before. And at one point, someone was able to get most of it. They were able to get a bunch of the cards, the updated cards, and all. They posted them on the different Facebooks. I'm in a lot of the Discord groups for that, and most of the Discord groups actually banned those. They banned them, and they told the people, hey, if you post it back, we're banning you as well. Like, we want to uphold the integrity of what these people wanted. We don't want this posted around because we want, the surprise. Like, they've been doing their best to try to, at that point, they were doing like articles, kind of showing bits of it. So they wanted to keep that.
That's a difference. We haven't gotten, Steve can correct me here. I don't think there's been a single teaser article about Horus Heresy.
Nothing.
Yeah.
They haven't even confirmed that we're getting Mark 6 and a Spartan yet.
Yeah. Or I don't think they even confirmed a new edition.
I don't think it's been confirmed.
No, the only thing that we've gotten is a new logo.
Yeah. I literally think the only confirmation of a new edition has been through leaks.
Yeah.
That's not great.
No,
let your player base know what's going to happen.
I mean, the old world got more leaks than more reveals and teasers.
Yeah.
Than Heresy has. The old world is like 2 years, 3 years out.
Oh, easily.
What's funny is they've been releasing new units for Heresy. It's not like they've been ignoring Heresy. It's not a dead game. They've been releasing like these little narrative story. No, Steve can help me out on this one. Campaign.
They're like mini black books. It's like a new unit or two, and then it's like 3-ish missions.
Yeah. So and they're new
a little like hobby article and like 3 pages of fluff.
Yeah, and you get like
they're good stuff. It's great stuff to see. I'm glad they're happening.
But
it's
it's not a rule book. It's not telling me like all they have to do is just announce there was a new rule book. Fuck.
Or that there isn't.
Or that there isn't. I'll take isn't either.
Yeah. Well,
now it's like, well, I know something's coming.
Yeah.
Because there's all these leaks.
Well,
so I don't want to tell someone, hey, start playing Heresy right now. I'll teach you. I'll help you plan out an army because I could give them bad advice if I tell them, how to do things right now. In any sort of specific capacity.
Right.
So, I'm not pushing people to buy it, which I hate because I love the game. I love the setting.
Leaks get people interested, and knowing that there's something upcoming and knowing nothing of it gets people very disinterested. Because if you let it go on too long, right now is a terrible time to get into Heresy. Because you know stuff's coming out, but you don't really know when. When is it going to be official? Especially from the way you guys talk related to that community. Is that the kind of community that's going to play with these leaked rules? Or are they going to say, it's not, we'll look at it, talk good and bad about it, but it's not technically official, keep it away?
It's not keep playing the old one, and that's mostly what they'll do.
Yeah, which means that it's a bad time to get into Heresy until they do come out with this. That's what happened with the Song of Ice and Fire. So they leaked the dragons. Ooh, I mean, with shipping things, obviously everything got delayed, but we were playing dragons 6 months ahead or more before they reached the table. We knew everything about them. We knew how they worked. Other units as well. We had played them so much in the online communities. When they came out, I got the set of them, but I'm not even probably going to play them. I mean, they're part of the reason is the things that they've done to them. But we had been playing with those for 6 months or more. We had already changed the online meta to be the things that aren't even out for the game. And you with the 30K community, I think you might see the opposite of that because they might only want what's official. But that means if someone is looking at those leaks, say, oh, I'm thinking this, ooh, that rule looks really good. This is maybe an avenue I'd like to pursue because of this change. Oh, we can't use the changes. I guess I'll just sit and wait until it happens then. Or
Exactly.
if GW says when.
Out of stupid curiosity, Steve,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of talked about what my biggest like, and well, I didn't talk about my biggest dislike. But what are your biggest likes and dislikes with the leak so far? Out of stupid curiosity.
So the thing that I like the most is probably okay. I have a love-hate with the alleged. I'm gonna call it like the fake stratagem, right? Because it's
Uh,
essentially stratagems, but
are you talking
fake.
about reactions?
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know if I want to say the name of it, but yeah. Um, I like the idea. I think it could be a really cool game mechanic. I'm not in love with it though, because it's all upside. And I hate it when there's a game mechanic that is an extra thing you get with no cost to you.
mhm.
So, like
Okay.
for example, there's allegedly a thing that lets you shoot back at you, that's shooting at you, right? And it doesn't say that you're taking a penalty to your hit roll. You're shooting at full effectiveness.
Ooh.
And it doesn't say you lose out in your following turn's shooting attacks. So
Is this a
it's
limited
literally just an
resource?
No, okay. So
so
basically, what
you
he's
get
talking about.
one of these per phase,
Okay.
unless you have a special unit or a rule that gives you extras per phase,
Okay.
up to 3 in a phase. Um,
They're called reactions, by the way, Dave. It's think of it
yeah,
as infinity. Think of
it's
it as think of it as infinity. That during an opponent's turn, you're able to do something while the opponent is doing something.
Yeah.
Which is why I disagree with Steve in saying that I actually like this change because I think it,
I
it it
think there's good ideas. I don't like the implementation
okay, that makes sense.
because there's no trade-off. Because you're not losing anything by taking an activation except time, because now the game's going to be slower. You
But
might
you're
be active more often, but the game is going to be slower.
now I don't know the list of things because I haven't looked through this, but at least there's an opportunity cost, I would say, because you're losing the ability to do, unless there's only one thing per phase that you could do, you're losing the potential of doing the other things that you could react with in that phase. It reminds me, at least on the offset, from what I hear, maybe either of you might know a little bit better because you might know both systems, but it sounds almost to me like the command points in Age of Sigmar, because they're limited. Oh,
Yes,
you use that one, can't touch it again, and all of that.
and you have such a limited command point structure in
Yes.
Sigma. It's not like 40K where you start with 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting like 3.
Um,
But the problem is it's its own economy, right? Like it's, oh yeah, I get a reaction return. And the way I'm envisioning things is just gonna lead to stupider Death Star units. Because you're gonna get that one unit put together that is gonna make the most out of the reaction. Now either your opponent's gonna do something to it and gonna get nuked in response, or your opponent's going to not do anything about it and the unit is perfectly safe. Like I don't think that the way they did it in this draft version of the rules, because this is the draft version from playtesting.
mhm.
Um, I don't like what they did. I think the idea is great. I don't like the implementation of it. One thing I absolutely do like though is that psychic powers are no longer a
Yes.
phase.
Yep.
They're rolled into the other phases. Like it was back in
Hmm.
like I think fifth edition was the last time they had it in 40K,
It's actually
maybe
it's
sixth.
actually reminiscent of actually like fourth and third edition.
Yeah.
Believe it,
Yeah.
because they do the psychic powers, which
Yeah, because
I
there's a leadership test that gives you an ability in that phase.
yep.
So, for example, in 5th edition Blood Angels, you had the Wings of Sanguinius. You
Hmm.
passed the leadership test. Congratulations, you're now a jump infantry unit, and you can move 12 inches instead of walking your 6.
Mhm.
But you know, if you used Smite, that was a shooting attack with a profile. So in the shooting phase, you took a leadership test, and if you passed, you got to go pew 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 with your brain. I like that better than just having it in an extra phase that one player, cough cough, Thousand Suns player, gets to participate in. Their opponent, literally anybody else except word bearers, doesn't get to do anything then.
Were they
Except
the only two factions with Psychers?
No,
everyone has
like
access,
yeah,
but
everyone has
no one
librarians.
else gets to play ball quite the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Everyone gets to play basketball. Not everyone's an NBA star.
Got it.
yeah. And
Okay.
there comes a point where it's like, you know, dude, what? It's like the Globetrotters versus a group of toddlers, right? If you have like Emperor's Children versus Thousand Sons. Emperor's Children's players like, oh, I rolled my psychic power pool and I got 2 dice and my 1 psychic level. I have 3 dice to cast a spell. Thousand Sons players like, oh, that's cool. I have 7 dispel dice just because I'm on the table.
So it's
Like,
Globetrotters versus
and
Washington Generals. That's actually who they fight, which might as well be kids.
Yeah, it's it's a phase that didn't need to be a phase, and I'm glad the phase is over.
I'm very surprised you do not like the last cannons have Sunder. I am surprised.
I don't know, man. Makes me think of 40k too.
You take?
It makes me think of 40k too much because it's just adding special rules to weapons. Because apparently weapon profiles don't differentiate things enough, so we're gonna add special rules on top of various profiles. It's bloaty.
Last cannons, come on. Last cannons needed to Sunder. I 100%.
Last cannons are fine. They're strength 9. They don't.
Yeah, and then you roll the 1 and you feel so bad.
It's what happens. It's a dice game. Use tank hunters. Be an Iron Havoc. Be better than the others, and get the tank hunters rule.
All right.
Yeah. So I have a love-hate with reactions. I love the fact that the psychic powers got rolled into the phases. And not a fan of movement characteristics just because I'm concerned they're gonna do it wrong.
What do you mean? In terms of things have movement characteristics before?
Well, everything was moved 6 because if it was infantry, or 12 if it was jump infantry. Bikes moved 12, it could flat out another whatever.
Okay.
It was like archetypes, right?
Yeah.
But now they have an extra stat they could tweak. I don't know if they know how to tweak the stat. If that makes any sense.
No.
Okay, so specifically, there's a unit I have in mind. Terminators, Cataphractii Terminators, right? The big bulky ones. They're really slow, but they're amazing defensively, right? My concern is to go, okay, Cataphractii are slow, so we're going to give them movement less than whatever anyone else gets, right? But they already have a bunch of special rules to give the sense of them being slow, right? Like they can't overwatch, they can't run, they can't sweeping advance. My concern is they're just going to keep stacking on top of that with the lower move characteristic and like break basically the ecology of it. Like, white scars all get 1 extra inch their movement profile. Why? White scar go fast. Ha ha ha. Hilarious. I'm not a fan. I think it's just poor design.
It gives more availability to be more interesting with your design, but the more that you allow yourself to diverge, then the easier it is to be a problem. And I don't know how much is the playtester. I don't know how much is GW. I don't know how much is them not listening to playtesters or listening too much. But I think there's absolutely that potential if they do start varying that up that, you might see, these units, you never take them. They're way too slow now. Or this,
in 40k. In 40k, I play Tyranids, right? My Spore Mines move 3 inches. My Biovores move 5 inches. My Termagants move 6 inches. My Hormagaunts move 8 inches. My Raveners move 9 inches. My Gargoyles move 12 inches. My I skipped over my Exocrines that move 7 inches. I want to say I have a 14-inch move. The Hive Tyrant moves 16 inches if it has wings.
Yep.
And the Harpy, I think, goes 40. Like, there's too many little 1 inch differences that don't really matter, except they do matter, and it's not necessary.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
All right.
Hmm.
All right.
Well, we'll see.
Maybe I'm just cranky and old.
Don't tell me I want the old edition of Horse back in my day.
Yeah.
It does sound, at least from the outside
we'll
looking
see.
in.
I'm excited to try these rules and play with them and get a proper feel. Because maybe, it's a whole new game and a new, ecology, and I'm going to love it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the good news is
when you try to graft on leaks from a new edition onto the current edition, it's not going to fit together properly.
I will point out
it's
that
not the same game.
Well, hold on. I will point out that the playtesters that got leaked, we know that the playtesters were the Mournival group, and the Mournival group is a well-known group who have tweaked 30K. They're actually called the Mournival rule set. I think they're in the UK, and they actually have their own rule set of 30K that they've tweaked over the years because there was no new edition. And they were one of the playtest. In fact, they were the ones who gave Last Cannon Sunder in their rule set. So I do like the Mournival rule set a lot. So that does give me hope because at least we know it's players. You know what I mean? It's actual players that are doing this.
I don't know, man. They decided that Terminators would be really cool with 2 heavy bolters.
Also, Terminators, first of all, have 2 wounds. Now,
2 heavy bolters in Mournival.
No.
Heavy destroyers make me so
the Heresy leak, or what is Terminators have 2 wounds.
No, I know. I don't love that. I don't love that either. But
You run Terminators. Get the fuck out of here with your shit.
I don't run Terminators, and it also depends on how damage allocation works. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know because I don't want to read the whole thing.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. There's a lot.
I pick up a game. I like to pick it up once correctly. My brain is like a rules sponge. I wish I could do this for like chemistry or whatever, but no, just game rules. It's like a rules sponge. But once I get the rule in there, it's stuck in there. So I don't want to read too deep until I have the actual book in my hands.
Okay.
At that point, I can do my deep dive.
At least we now know there is a book coming out, which is still a nice little addition. You know what I mean?
Unless they decide to punish us for leaks existing.
Which, by the way, is part of the leak as well, that GW is so pissed that they will actually can Heresy or stop releasing it to release something else.
That's the dumbest idea of what they could do. That would just kill the line.
No, they've done that before. They did that with the fish people. Idoneth. They but they delayed Idoneth because of the leak.
That's not the first. I mean, they also pushed back the Parasite of Mortrex, 10 years from first rules to first model? 5th edition Tyranny?
Yeah, actually just coming out now.
We just got it today. Well, we just got confirmation like today, yesterday, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, that's honestly a terrible idea. Because you're talking about a full game system. You're not talking about a single model or a line, which
a single faction.
I think that's still a problem. But you're talking about your whole game system. You do that, you're just going to lose all any players you have.
And you're using logic because
and all the R&D they invested, and it would be a massive waste of resources just to be spiteful.
Yeah, they put money into this, and it's spiting themselves. It's not spiting anyone else. It's not spiting your players. Your players will either keep playing with the things they already have. They'll switch over to this Mournival's version or some other version. You'll have some group do it, or they're just going to play a different miniatures game. They'll find something else.
Like what Battlefield Gothic players do. They either just play the old rules, or they do weird things to their ships and play XR, or
All right. Hopefully, this actually just speeds up their timeline.
On the plus side, I would love to see a release date soon, so I could start working on event planning. Because I would love to have a big release party, and raffle off box sets and all that shit.
The big rumor is that they're going to release this information on What's that next convention?
Adepticon?
Adepticon?
Is that the next one up?
Yeah, in
I
I have
always
April.
no
forget.
idea.
Adepticon would be the next big one.
It's April. Yeah. So the big one is they're probably going to release this information in April during
April's not
Adepticon.
that far away.
It's sounding to me like I would think early summer launch. If they're talking about in April, I bet it's going to be a month or two
That's when
after.
they do their big releases too this
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
I guess when 40K drops, that's when Sigmar drops.
It's probably going to be, probably June-ish, I would think then.
I would hope. Oh my God, could you imagine a summer release for Heresy, bro? Oh my God. See how excited I am. Like, come on, GW, don't punish the people for wanting leaks, man. I'm so stupid excited for this, and like, I don't know.
I understand both sides because I can see. I saw this a bit with the Song of Ice and Fire ones. I can see where like you've been working on this for so long, you've put so much time into it, and then rather being able to get it and put it out there yourself and receive the excitement, it gets essentially put out by someone else without your control. I could definitely understand that sort of knee-jerk reaction of wanting to pull it away because, this was your project that now someone else essentially has. But still, don't, if your goal is to make money on it, the last thing you should do is pull it away in any way. So.
One would hope.
They're not going to pull it away. Not a chance. They want money. Not a chance it's going to go away. I'm not saying it might not change his timeline a little bit, but no. If they were thinking this summer, I think they're still going to do it. Old GW, I think maybe more so would have pulled it. More newer, a lot of times when stuff gets leaked, they're like, yeah, this thing was leaked. Here you go. Here's all the information about it. They've been a little bit more forward thinking.
Actually, I will say they have been more joke friendly.
Yes.
Like remember when there's always like a blurry picture, they're like, oh, potato cam. They remember they had like a picture of potato with a camera strapped to it, and they were like, haha, potato camera strikes again. Here's a better picture.
Yeah, and they have to. I mean, they're the number one miniatures manufacturer, game rule company, however you want to put it, with all their different lines. If something comes out, just own it. Just own it. Put it forward and spin it to your liking, and you're gonna make money. There you go. That's all you gotta do.
My favorite was the bit they did when they had the sprues in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Someone fished them out.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, it's a new line release. What was that? Was that Primaris? Death Guard?
I
I don't remember what that was.
I
was a
don't
funny
recall.
one.
Plastic Thunderhawk will always be my favorite joke that they did.
I mean, I knew it. I saw the rivets. Like, okay, that's Aeronautica. But that was beautiful.
People were salty. People were so salty. I loved it. Loved every second of it. Oh man.
All right. So maybe now, some 40-some minutes in, when the goal was Titanicus, maybe we'll switch around here to some Titanicus talk.
Yep.
Ooh, Titanicus. Now that's a good game with a currently active edition.
That is true.
Yes.
And it's only edition.
Yeah. As long as you don't count 88, absolutely.
No, I'm not counting that. Although I am sure, without a doubt, that there are some people who shy away from this and still go play that edition with their old metals and plastics.
Oh, Dan and I know a few of them.
Yep. Fucking Warlord Titans the size of a goddamn Imperial Knight in 18. So stupid. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So, how are we doing this?
So we mentioned that, or I mentioned at the top, that our goal is to start actually going a deeper dive in Titanicus, and we thought we'd work from essentially the back to the front. The most recent thing they came out with was a trader book, so we thought, okay, well, we want to go through the trader book, and we want to discuss what's there and all. Before we can discuss, honestly, before you really want to discuss a lot of Titans, before you really want to discuss a lot of weapons, before you want to discuss Legios, we really want to talk about the way to put them together, Maniples, because that's going to preface a lot of the conversation when you talk about different groups and, why for one Legio you might want to be running one thing or another. So we thought that's where we would start. We also thought it might be one of the shorter ones. We'll see how that goes. For anyone trying to follow along, We're looking through the Trader Legio's book. It starts on page 12 here, and we're just going to go through the Maniples in the order that they give them here. So it's not alphabetical. It's mostly, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is mostly essentially release. Like the ones that released first when the game first came out are the first ones, and then they go along there as they were released in later books.
Almost exactly.
Yeah, pretty much publication.
If you have the Loyalist Legio's book, it's the same deal. There's just one Maniple less because it's a specific Trader Legion Maniple.
Got it. Okay. Is it the same order
on
too?
Page 12. Same order, same everything.
Okay, so same page. Yeah, so if you happen to have either book, we have that. So would anyone in particular like to take the first one?
I mean, Steve, this one's the best one for you because you do the little league on this. So this is like the most common one.
Yeah. All right. It is the axiom of how to put together a Maniple. The Axiom Battleline Maniple is basically your most generic, most all-rounders, most beginner-friendly version of a Maniple. It literally has a little bit of everything in it. You get one Warlord, one Reaver, and one Warhound to start off your composition. You could add a second Reaver and a second Warhound to max out the Maniple at 5 Titans. The perk of this Maniple is that if you fail a command check, it's okay. You can keep issuing checks to Titans within the Maniple. That's great because if you are a newer player and you aren't sure how to prioritize which commands must happen versus which commands are more likely to happen versus which commands are just a nice thing that you'd like to get the perk of. If you don't have a good grasp of how to prioritize your orders, this is a great Maniple to pick. It's also great because, like I said, you get a little bit of everything. You got a heavy brawler with the Warlord, the amazing all-rounder Reaver, and the lightning fast speed of a Warhound. I was going to give a recommended loadout. I would do a ranged Warlord, probably like a Bellicosa and a Quake. Sorry, in the Forge World, it happens sometimes.
In this game, you almost have to, really.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Or Plasma Annihilator paired with anything, really. Anything except the Quake goes great with the Plasma.
Yeah.
I want to say. And that's only because the Quake has a penalty at short range. And then whatever you want to put up top is going to be good on a Warlord. Well, laser blasters or Apocalypse Missile, just keep it plastic. Either one of those will do great. Mostly those are the two best options for Warlord Carapaces, unless you do the Brawler with the quad Gatling nonsense.
I was going to say that's
yeah. That Dan loves that. Dan loves that.
Listen, I because it's effective.
Absolutely.
Period. The cool thing is the Maniples are the Maniple you might choose might just be a Maniple that runs really well with your Legio as well. So that's okay.
Also true. I think that's a great thing to touch when we get to Legio specifically.
Yeah.
Like I recommend this Maniple for the Legio. Especially since like some Legios can even change what Titans you take.
Exactly.
So, like for example, like if you're playing Legio Kratos, you'd be like, oh yeah, like Reavers are cool and all, but I want a second Warlord. And like, okay, you could replace a Reaver with a Warlord if you're playing Legio Kratos. Sick. Or, I personally play Legio Graphonicus, and I love my Reavers. I could replace the Warhound and the Warlord both with Reaver Titans. I just run 3 Reavers in this Maniple. It's great. I love it. But yeah, this is a great Maniple if you struggle with prioritizing orders or you want to consistently at least be able to attempt getting orders off, which is why I think it's an amazing place to start your journey.
Great.
No, great. And this is also, I mean, if you got into the game, this is essentially all the models they had in the beginning. Or if you're getting into the game now, if you're getting a box set or anything like that, these are the common ones. You're not getting the ones that you're necessarily having to buy separate or the ones that don't fit the base Maniples.
Definitely. It's like
which I think
the Axiom is literally the Titanicus starter set plus a Warlord Titan.
Yeah.
And that's a full Axiom. And that'll be a 2,000 point army.
Is that really 2,000? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
But think how much a warlord is, and you could have two of them in here.
A warlord's about
Oh,
sorry, one of
500
them.
to 500 to 600.
Mm-hmm.
A Reaver's about 300.
Yeah.
And a Warhound's about 200. That's
Okay, yeah.
4. That's 1,000, 15. I can't do math. I'm definitely estimating wrong. It's fine. No, like this is okay. Let's say it's a 1750.
Yeah,
it's a 1750 list.
If you're playing the size up to 1750, once you add on your weapons, you'll be there, or you'll be close enough.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be close that you won't be able to put anything else in
knights
anyway.
You could throw in as support units.
Yeah,
exactly.
Especially now they have those much smaller knights, which I don't know their points cost, but I'm sure they're a lot less. Therefore, even if you have a little bit of points, you could add that in.
Mm-hmm.
Or just take the more expensive options. You know, if you don't have those knights, there's nothing wrong with some of these more expensive options on your warlords. You want to put, you know, like I said, those plasma annihilators, something like that. They're 45 points each.
Yeah.
You could put those on.
It's
not a bad choice.
My favorite.
With this Maniple, I would set up the Warlord as your wholesale damage dealer.
Yep.
I would do the Reaver as a generalist, maybe being your melee punch as just a backup if needed. And I would do the Warhounds as shield strippers, personally.
Agreed.
Because Warhounds and Warlords beautifully complement each other.
I do think there's one potential problem in this, and that would be when you think of your orders are very specialized things. They let you do something at oftentimes a huge detriment of something else. You get to move extra, but you're not shooting, or you're shooting, you're not moving, whatever those may be. I would caution to be careful of not just issuing orders because you know you're just not going to fail them. Like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, well, you get something. You're going to get something. Everyone's going to get something. You know, this ensures that you don't lose your chance. But if you didn't want to give it an order before, if you wouldn't normally, it's a bad idea to give it an order just because you have the ability to do so.
Very true. By the way, like I was mentioning earlier, like I love it when you have trade-offs when you get benefits. Like, here's a great thing you could do, but it's going to cost you that. That's good game design. I want to see more of that. Cough, cough, Games Workshop. But yeah. Dan, I feel like the next one's up your alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you hit the next one? I'll
never
take the one
run
after.
it. Ironically, never run it.
Really?
Because I don't actually own. Well, I do own two Warlords, but I don't own the third, which I would definitely run for. So the next one is the Myrmidon. Myrmidon Battleline Maniple. This is basically, I think, funny enough, the biggest Maniple you can run, or biggest
in terms of points.
Biggest in terms of tonnage. Biggest in terms of tonnage.
I think you might be right.
Warlords.
No, there is heavier. There is.
You have 3 Warlords somewhere else?
Yeah, 3 Warlord. Sorry, no. I can do better. 4 Warlords and a Warbringer.
Who the fuck?
The Exterminus, but we'll get there when we get there.
So this is the second largest, and essentially.
Oh, it definitely hits that.
Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah, I see it.
It's a mandatory unit, mandatory 2 Warlords, and 1 Reaver. Period. You could add an additional 1 Warlord or an additional 1 Reaver, so for a total of 3 Warlords and 2 Reavers. The benefit of this one is that essentially when issuing a first fire or a split fire, so let me just pause right there. First fire is essentially when you activate your Titan in the movement phase, it is not allowed to move, but it can select 1 weapon and fire. So this is really good in case maybe there's a damaged Titan in front of you and you just want it dead before it activates, or maybe you just want to rip shields off real quick. It's multiple uses for first fire. And split fire is when you activate your Titan, you can't make turns, but in the shooting phase, every time you select a weapon, you can select a different target, essentially. So I'm going to fire
long
missiles.
as you declare everyone on the table as a target first.
Actually, that is not true. So we had this discussion. I had this discussion with Dave in another podcast, and I had to ask the freaking community. I had to research, but apparently the consensus is because you're returning to a certain step, Steve, it's basically...
No, what I'm saying is you declare every single unit on the table as a target every single time.
Oh!
Yeah.
And then you have the flexibility.
Sorry, misheard you. Continue.
No, you're good. I probably worded that poorly.
Yeah, no, it's a really stupid way of wording it, but yeah, no, I was kind of upset that that's the way it's supposed to be. It makes sense, but it's like oh different. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to even talk about it. So,
Yeah.
split fire basically you can't turn, but you can shoot at multiple things. And the command check is essentially always made on a 2+. There's no modifiers. Even if you have modifiers to the roll, does not matter. Always a 2+. Which is actually kind of cool because tends to sometimes be a lot of modifiers to command checks, whether you have a corrupted titan or actually this would be really good for corrupted titans. Now that I think of it,
Uh-oh. What have we caused?
yeah, no, because I just realized because
Oh, it
corrupted
says like
titans get
Dancing Warlord number 3.
well, look, because look, corrupted titans get
The
like
minus
theory
3?
crafted, yeah, -3 to command check. So even if you have your princeps on that thing, which I hope
Princeps
you
doesn't
don't,
help with
doesn't really help.
Corrupted Titan, right?
No, it doesn't. +2 -3 still nets it a +1. Um, yeah. So this is actually a okay. Okay. Um, I could see the use of this. I could see the use of this. Still wouldn't run it because I have my favorite. I still have like more favorite maniples. I have like top three. Um, but it's a cool maniple. It is a cool maniple and has its uses. That's the
I,
Myrmidon.
th- I think the biggest drawback is you're giving up so much mobility
Yes.
I mean,
if
if
you're
they're
using the
dead,
Maniple trait.
there's no mobility.
Well, no,
If they're
even
dead, no, I'm
well,
joking. I'm joking.
yeah, but I mean, you're essentially just not, if you're doing this stuff, you're not moving, or very little, or super limited.
Well, I'll disagree with you there only because I know as
This
a trader player,
Maniple is
as
helped out a ton by the new war gear.
yes, I was just
Being
gonna
able
say
to
as a
buy tracking
trader
gyroscopes does so much to
or
make this
as a
Maniple playable.
trader, my warlord can move 8 inches turn one, give him the move order, so he moves another 8 inches, and then I can warp jump him for 2d6. So you could get some mobility in there.
But turning is going to be difficult,
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah, but no,
aligning
yeah,
things
the
up.
actual like
Because if you're giving up a move
flexibility.
to first fire, we're giving up turning for split fire,
Oh
you
yeah,
are going to be very restricted by your arcs, and you
yes,
will be
I agree.
depending on those Reavers and their Carapace 360 weapons to be like your pin down attackers.
Because you didn't have a lot of mobility when you start with two warlords anyway, and when we look at this, if you think about the points, you're already going to be very expensive, so you're going to have a hard time filling out the rest of your list with maybe some more mobile options, unless you just want to throw a bunch of knights at it, which is not
Also
necessarily a
true,
bad
because
idea.
like just the minimum requirements of this Maniple is probably like 1,000 points or
Yeah.
so.
Well,
So
Oh,
like
over,
500,
because the warlord base is 385.
1300. It's
385,
1300.
Quakes are cheapish. Yeah.
And this is a
So
spot
if you
where
did
you
double,
probably,
yeah.
weapon wise, yeah, there's certain weapons that are cheaper, but you might be taking the ones that are more expensive or varying it up a little bit, or like I said, a bellicose or something like that, because you're trying to lay down all this extra fire.
Yep. Because these rules benefit either attacking with one weapon in the movement phase or splitting up your attacks, I would say that this Maniple best benefits from generalist loadouts where you have a bit of everything.
Yep.
Because if it's something you want to kill and you don't need a particular weapon to do it, you split fire to make the weapon useful elsewhere. Or if you need to really get use out of a weapon, you first fire and use the weapon twice, once in the movement, once in the shooting. So I want to say this is a good Maniple if you have generalist loadouts. / you want to take generalist loadouts with this Maniple.
Yeah.
Especially since you're going to be out activated, each Titan has to be able to do everything on its own.
I agree.
All right. I think that moves us to the next one then. So I'll take the next one here. Next one's the Venerator Light Maniple. So required, you have to take a Reaver, 2 Warhounds. You can add 2 more Warhounds in if you want. And the trait, it's Opportunistic Strike. So I'll read through this one because this one's a little bit long, but it's pretty easy to interpret what it does at the end. If an enemy unit's void shields are collapsed by an attack made by one of the Warhound Titans from the Maniple, the Reaver in this Maniple can immediately make an attack against it with one of its weaponings, following the standard procedure for an attack. This means that the Reaver can potentially attack several times in the same phase, as well as attacking normally when it's activated. However, if it's prevented from attacking in the combat phase, so full stride shutdown, anything like that, then it cannot make these bonus attacks. So you have Warhounds take the shields off of something for you, and then you get to hit it with something, following all the normal standard rules. And we mentioned before when we went through the Axiom where you want shield strippers, you definitely are looking at your Warhounds to do that. If you were going to take the optional, I don't think you don't want to build them all out to strip shields, because a lot of times the weapons that are best for doing that, like your Mega Bolters, they're not going to do much good once your shields are down. So for the two, yeah, I'd probably take one, maybe double Mega Bolter, the other one, I'm sure maybe
toss
even
in a Volkite.
Yeah, the Volkite's not bad,
the,
because that does what? Is that the one extra? It's been a little bit since I've looked at some of these.
It's the
Two
extra hit against shields.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
so
also
yeah.
higher
2 extra
strength.
hits. Yeah, 2 extra hits.
It's a higher strength too, so it's
Strength
not-
5,
Strength
so yeah,
5.
you can scratch a little more effectively.
Yeah, 5 compared to 4. That's not bad. So I mean, you could even go for your stripper if you're
So I
willing
would
to go a little higher 1-1.
I would do 2 squadrons of Warhounds, up 2.
Yeah.
And I would give each of those squadrons one dedicated double stripper, and one that's half stripper, and then like a plasma.
Yeah, I think you have to
Or
get
a Twin
plasmas in there.
Inferno could be fun in there, because the Flamers actually throw down a lot of hits. Each Flamer hits 3 times on the first model it connects with. So between the 2 Flamers, that's 6 hits. That's also not bad for shield stripping. It's strength 7, which is not bad for dealing damage. So Twin Infernos also have a place here on the Hounds. For the Reavers, this is disgusting if you have a Melta-Cannon.
Yep.
That happens to be lined up just right, because there's a reason it's the most expensive gun on the Reaver. It's because it's the best gun.
Yeah.
And if you get to use that extra times in a turn, you're going to be very happy.
I think with the Warhounds, I think, yeah, the dedicated strippers, if you're bringing 4, and I think that's probably the right way you want to run this. For the other one, I don't mind the Inferno Cannon. My only concern, one, you do have to get very close for that. So that can give you some problems. But my bigger thing is the Plasma Blast Gun, if you overcharge it, you're getting the strength that you're lacking otherwise. Because I think the downside that you're going to have here is I can take your shields down, but I need more than this Reaver to really be able to punch through. And a lot of your other guns are not going to be punching through.
That is true.
I would now you're going to have points left over in this for sure, so you can definitely take something a bit heavier or vary it out from there. But I would be, I don't know, me personally, I kind of like double Mega Bolter, Vulcan Mega Bolter on one, and then double Blast Gun, or yeah, it's usually what I kind of like, just because it can give you the extra punch that's lacking.
I mean, even double blast gun's not a bad shield stripper.
No.
You just shoot on low power, and
fact,
each
yes,
gun
so-
is
That's 4.
2 blasts. That's potentially 4 hits per gun.
So Steve knows this because my War Master brings double plasma as a shield stripper, but also I hit on 2.
That's what I do with mine, because I love plasma. Plasma's my friend.
No,
Yeah.
my favorite. I love the plasma. You're right. The sun.
Yes,
What
you do.
the fuck?
Yeah, the Sun Fury. Yep.
Sun Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
For the Reaver Carapace, I have to say, I think the best option is the Turbo Laser, only because if your Reaver's out of arc, take advantage of the the free attack. At least the Turbo Laser's strength 8 compared to like strength 4 on the missiles or the bolter.
Yeah.
Or whatever is on there, So I think that the best Carapace is the Turbo Laser on the Reaver here.
I think the Reaver has to go heavier weapons or heavier strength, including its Carapace, to make up for the fact that you're going to be bringing several models that are not going to be able to punch. Or
Yep.
not well. I mean, yeah, if a Titan's hurt and you're in the correct side or behind it and all of that, but if you don't have those bonuses, some of those other Titans aren't really going to be doing it for you.
Yeah. Don't forget, you can technically use a melee weapon.
Oh
Which
yeah,
is a
you can be
smash attack.
standing right next to them, drop their shields, and you get to punch them right in the face. I thought of that. That is, I wouldn't plan on it at all. I think
It's not a good use of resources, but it's
no.
fun.
It's a terrible use of resources that would be hilarious if you ever do it. And that's going to be the story that you'll remember. The time when you stood inside someone's shields, waited for another Titan to drop their shields, and then punched them in the face.
They just kick him in the groin. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and the Reavers have very nice close combat weapons. I mean, there's nothing stopping it.
They're strength 9.
Yeah. One and then, one of the other weapons. So something else with a bit of range. It's not a bad play. It's not a great play.
It's great. Yeah,
but it's not bad.
It's a great way to... This Maniple will punish a Storm players because aren't they the ones that the special rule where when they lose shields, they could try to gain them back immediately?
Storm, yep.
Yeah. So they do that. Oh, great. I got a free shot. And you now have one shield that I'm going to pop off and get another free shot.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the right
Unfortunately, if you're playing against some weirdo that likes Adeptus Titanicus, this is useless.
Very
completely
true.
Useless.
I mean, it gives your opponent a very interesting question of when they're trying repair rolls. Do they want to, and you roll your 4 dice, let's say you only get the 1, 6 and your other dice maybe don't work out, or maybe a 6 and a 4 and whatever else. Do you put your shields back? I'm in a really bad spot to get hit again. I'm only going to put 1 level of shields. If I fail that, this guy's hitting me again.
Not a chance.
Yeah,
and also, this also works on first fire, by the way. So if your Warhound's on first fire and knocks out shields, the Reaver gets a shot.
Yeah. That's good. All right.
Like this is a very, very savage Maniple. Because it's a light Maniple,
yeah.
You could even take 2 of these.
Could.
Or like this and another light Maniple. And people will often do that. They'll use the Venerator as an accessory to like the main part of the list.
Yeah, because you could fit it.
And because this game is weird, it is specifically Reaver Titans get to make a free shot. So if you change your composition somehow, right? Only Warlords can trigger. Warhounds can trigger the free attacks, and only Reavers can make the free attacks.
Yeah,
and
that was good writing.
And only one Reaver gets to make the attack per time
they
it's triggered.
They did this on purpose because Krytos players can do this and have their Warlord that traded for a Reaver shoot, and that's why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was gross. So they said maybe we shouldn't allow that. And they fixed it.
Maybe having a free Warlord shot is not a perfect solution.
Oops, all bellicoses.
I'm gonna wait for the Regia because that's actually.
We know you're waiting.
Yeah,
you can take the next 2. You two can.
We'll pace it out. I'll take on the Corsair because, I'll take on the Corsair.
Favorite one.
No, it just looks like I love the Corsair because I love Reavers.
Agreed.
So the Corsair is the Reaver Maniple. If you're playing with Eldar counts as, this is actually not a terrible choice for you. Corsair Manipul is composed of 3 Reaver Titans. You can swap. You could also add on. Get this, 2 Reaver Titans.
So many.
It's literally a Maniple of all Reavers. They are great. I love Reavers. I think this is honestly compositionally a perfectly fine Maniple. Their trait is called Fighting Withdrawal, and essentially what it does is it means that you can move sideways and backwards at full speed instead of at half speed. But you can't move at your boosted speed outside the arc. So, like Reavers move base 6, they can boost to 9. They can move 6 inches sideways, or if they can push and go 9 forwards. But being able to sidestep it's a nice option to have available to you. I don't think it's the best thing ever, but it is nice. The thing that's scary with this Maniple is you could potentially have 5 Reaver Titans all firing warp missiles that ignore voids and immediately start doing critical damage to something and blow up a Titan turn 1. But then they're also, down a Carapace weapon, so ups and downs. I think that this is a Maniple that is fun. I don't think it's a go-to. At least not for me.
No.
Because I'm Gryphonicus, I could get the composition elsewhere and get other rules that I find more interesting.
Reavers are definitely, like, in my mind, one, I just like them the most. It took until I put one together, but I do like them the most. So if you absolutely love Reavers, this is going to let you throw in as many as you like. I do feel overall they're usually the Titan that I feel is, the most malleable, because it has the speed to be able to move reasonably well, has better punch than some of the lighter ones, but has more speed than the heavier ones, can get a good variety of weapons and all. I think the ability is very nice, but yeah, I don't know if it will give you enough compared to some of the others.
I must be the crazy one
it's
to
a
like
good
Warlords.
counter.
I must be the only motherfucker that likes Warlords and Warmasters, and will load up on all Warlords and Warmasters.
This is actually a great counter to Warlords and Warmasters.
Oh, absolutely.
Warlords.
Yes,
because it could move sideways, it gives a lot of mobility to dodge arcs.
Yes.
That other builds might not have.
And I believe Reavers move 6?
6 base, 9 boosted.
Yes, 6.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. Yeah,
6 sideways could get you places.
Yeah. Now
this is good with melee weapons. I want to say because you can maneuver so well, you could get around back with those melee weapons easier.
Yeah. If someone gets to your side, you can literally just push sideways to them. Yep. Or anything like that, or move back if they got past you or anything like that, where normally just off of your turns pushing your reactor you still might not be able to do it. Can you turn still? Is there restrictions when you move sideways or back of turns?
Nah, you can move normally.
So then so actually you have a lot of flexibility then, really, with that movement. If you have good terrain placement, and that really depends on who you play with and how you play, but if you're playing with good terrain, I think this thing could do a lot, because you could easily hide yourself entirely behind a terrain piece, and if you move 6, you can pop yourself to the other side. Mm-hmm. So the more I talk about it like it, I just don't run it because I don't own 3 Reavers. I don't think I want to paint another one. Or if I do, I'm painting it in some alternate scheme of some other support Legio. Something I can paint faster.
Yeah, it's like a vassal Reaver that you adopted.
Yeah, it's one that has a different scheme. That's all I care about. That takes me too long.
One of the guys by me actually has a great thing going.
Mm-hmm.
He has a Black Shield army.
Yeah.
And every Titan, like the predominant color is black, but like they're all from different Legios that have black as a dominant color in the scheme, and it comes out sick. Like it looks cohesive because it's all black, but every Titan has its own secondary color. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It's a nice way to make it, look similar without actually having to do everything the same. Because some schemes are definitely a lot easier or more fun to work with than others. I don't mind my scheme. It looks good, but it takes a lot to do. Maybe I'll do a Legio Infector Reaver. I'll think about it. All right. In order to save Regia for Dan, I'll do the Janissary. So this is Janissary Battleline Manipul. 1 Reaver, 2 Warhounds. You can bring an extra Reaver. You can bring 1 additional Warhound. And the trait is close support. So when you're in this, they learn to coordinate their attacks with household support units and move to support them when needed. If a Titan the Manipul activates during the movement phase, you can choose a friendly Knight Banner within 6 inches of that Titan. Once the Titan has finished moving, the Knight Banner may now make its advance. I find it interesting, and maybe this was because of how early this came out, because these were all still original book, that there's no knights in the Manipul. I understand why, because it's the Titans that are doing it that cause the knights to do something. I just find funny that they don't actually list knights at all.
I will say this came out when Titan Death.
Was this Titan Death? I thought this was original.
Yeah.
It might not
no,
be.
the original is just the first 3. Axiom, Myrmidon, and Venerator.
So this page is Titan Death then. Okay.
Yep. This is pretty much the Titan Death page.
Got it.
Yeah. At the time, they didn't have the concept of vassal knights fleshed out. They did that in a White Dwarf later on. That list also got wrapped into this book.
Yeah, it did.
The Janissary is great for pincer movements with your knights. So you have a crazy combat Reaver barreling down the board screaming. and some knights going alongside it. And what you do is the Reaver hits something, and the knights wrap around back and pin it in place so it can't fall back. Which means the Reaver gets to hit it again and again and again. And because the knights are blocking it, you can use fists and not worry about knocking the target out of range. Because there's that backstop now.
Yeah.
That's how I think this Maniple is meant to be run.
That's actually not a bad idea, actually. I didn't even think about it like that. Using the knights as a way to trap. By the way, in 40K, this is what we call tri-pointing. But to trap in the model, that's actually that's a big brain move right there, actually.
That I think is the best use. I mean, 'cause the other use is a much more, sort of basic level of, oh, they're going to shoot my, they're on the first fire, something like that. They're a good opportunity to be able to shoot my knights. Oh, I can move my Reaver and I can still get my knights out of the way. But I like it more for they can actually essentially be stopping up the enemy. Especially now that they have some of these even cheaper knights.
Yeah.
Bring some of these little boys. Their only goal is to get behind and annoy.
There's
get amongst
definitely
them.
utility to be had here.
Yeah.
It's a Reaver Warhound Maniple, so it doesn't have the heavy guns. But with 2 Reavers, you have enough like not mid-strength, but like mid-tier heavy, I guess I want to call it, weapons. Like you could load up on melt cannons and things like that. You don't need to go dedicated with any of the Titans. You don't have to go specialist either. Like you could. I feel like composition, like weapons wise, this one's nice and flexible, but really benefits melee Reavers.
No, most definitely does. And honestly, if you brought the heavier
ones, you could also
ones,
use the knight as a physical screen to be mobile cover too.
Yeah.
Because it's intervening models. If it blocks enough of the model, so you can use knights to physically screen a Warhound and give it a -1 to be hit. Because Lancers are almost as big as a Warhound.
Yeah, they are. And your bigger models would be too slow anyway. In general, you want something a little faster. So Reaver or Warhounds, I think, works best because the knights move so fast. These are things that'll actually keep up with them. But
I think it's a really nicely thought out Maniple. I don't think it's a star, but it's a really nicely thought out thing.
Yeah,
there's definitely some nice synergies.
And if you have knights as well, if you're running some of these models and you have some knights as well, I find for me some of the times when I have the most issues running knights is when do I move them? When do I get them out of the way? If someone is trying to first fire, what am I giving up? Well, this might give you a little bit more of that ability to move around, a little bit more play with it all. I'm gonna have to try one of these days. I have to try some other. I have to try some more Maniples. All right, Dan, go ahead. Talk about your baby.
So, let's see here. The Regia Manifold. One of my problems, and this is what I run this one very often. I do run a lot of Maniples, but this has always been my go-to, feel comfortable. I've played it enough to kind of feel it out. And honestly, that's because of my Legio. So the Regia Maniple, aptly named because there's a king and a queen, is 2 Warlord Titans and 1 Warhound, which is a very weird combo, but it makes sense in a second. The optional components is you could add 2 more additional Warhound Titans. So you could have 3 in total, essentially. So there's actually 2 Maniple traits. They're both under the same rule, but they do 2 very different things. So first of all, you have the 2 Warlord Titans are essentially the king and queen in Regia Maniple. And they support each other in battle. So if they're within 12 inches of each other, if one successfully gains the order, the other one can, if it wants to, get that order without a command check. I like this, and it does come up a lot. There are many times when I've rolled that 1 on a command check, and it sucks, especially because you can't re-roll it. But if you get that 2 up and you want to just not fucking risk, turn 1 double moving your Warlords, just Regia Maniple. They're within 12 inches is a massive gap on a 4x4 board. You want both of them to first fire just to really hammer home or kill something. Um, Boom, you got that. Again, the reason I play this with Legio Furies is we get a little nice little war gear that has us ignore one of the negative ones when shooting. So I can first fire both warlords, one for free, one on the 2-up, if the other one gets it, and I'm hit, and you have no shield, I can target your body on a 4+, which is fantastic. The second part though is what really makes the Regia Manifold super, super cool. The Warhounds, right? That are very weird, are your courtiers. They're your little knights, if you will, and their job is to shield the king and queen. So the courtiers can merge their void shields with the king and queen, is as if they were part of the squadron. Um, and so first of all, merging void shield. Well, we'll talk about that. And it can be within 3 inches. Normally, when you merge void shields, and only Warhounds can do this, you have to be base to base, which is somewhat limiting sometimes in movement. The 3 inches rather than base contact is massive because you can actually hide your Warhound behind a building and have it take the void shield hits instead of your Warlord. And if the shields go down, who gives a shit? It's behind a building. Which is so basically you're giving it ablative void shields. So yeah, no, it's just a really good Maniple, and it just works. You have the two warlords, which are your two heavy, and I'll talk about my favorite, not component, Jesus, my favorite ornaments in a second. You have your warlords, which are usually very slow, very bruiser type, or at least the way I run them, and you have your warhounds, which are very good flankers. Um, so it's just, and then you can also pair this with another Maniple very easily, because two warlords and a warhound is only it's about 1,000 points ish. So you can actually add 750 more points somewhere else, right? Or you could take a support titan or two support titans. Normally when I run this, it's two warlords, two warhounds, and a reaver. And the reaver is actually dual melee, or yeah, dual melee. So again, it's so many good combos. I just like it. It's such a cool thing. And just the fluff is really cool too. The fact that you have a king and a queen on the board is a really cool thing. I talk about the warlords. So warlords, especially in the Regia Maniple, I actually do a little bit of what Steve and Dave were talking about. So what happens is I take one warlord with missiles, quake cannon, and volcano cannon, with targeting aspects, obviously, and he sits in the back and he lobs shots. And then the other warlord is armed with a plasma, Gatling, and laser blaster. And laser blasters aren't really used as much because they're 50 points, they're very expensive, and they're -1 a hit outside of 16. But because I have the targeting aspects, I don't care about that -1. So they shoot 6 shots that can be shield bane, are really, really good. That's more of my bruiser titan. Or I say fuck it, and I run both almost exactly the same loadout and just run them up the board with the warhounds, and they're just very hard to deal with.
It's the most survivable Maniple.
That's a lot of meat.
No, there's actually a more survivable one. The
Perpetua.
Yeah, is that the Iron Warrior one? Is it Fortis? No, it's Fortis, isn't it?
Oh, it's Fortis. Sorry, the Perpetua is different.
Yeah, but it is a Maniple. It's durable, but it's flexible as well. That's what it is. It's not the most durable. It's not the most flexible. I think it's the most. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not the most durable. It's not the most flexible. It's just.
It's like second in those. Yeah. Okay. The Fortis is a little more survivable, but you have, in my mind, potentially much bigger downsides with the way that works. And that one we'll get to very soon. This is a little less survivable. Part of it depends on your rolls. A little less survivable, at least in the later in the game. In the beginning, it's probably just about as good. And you can actually get a lot of movement. If you don't care about issuing orders to each other, you could have each one run off with one of the warhounds. Have two warhounds, each one runs off with one. Now you have a much, much safer warlord to be able to throw down all the firepower you want.
And plus, since you can share shields 3 inches and all that, you could, if your shields do get knocked out, you mercy repair on a Warhound to get some shields going on, and you're not losing a Warlord's worth of shooting.
Yeah.
If you decide you need to redeploy somewhere.
Yep. Yep. It's just like I said, just a very good overall combo. It's a lot of fun to play. And again, it's one of the very first. So I got into Titanicus when Titan Death came out. And I saw this, and what box did I pick up? It was the best box in my opinion. It was with with the Warhound, the Reaver, and the Two Warlords. I think it was the best box they ever produced. And I bought 2 of those boxes, and I was like, wow. So I'm just gonna run the Regia and a support Reaver, and that's what I did for a very long time. Yeah.
All right. So we'll go on to the ones here on page 14. Does anyone have a preference of which one they want to do on this page?
I'll do Fortis.
Okay.
You know I love my Ferrix.
All right, I'll take Lupercal then. That's fine with me.
We could rock. I fight Lupercal a lot, so I can talk about it.
Okay, that's fine.
So
I'll introduce it, and we'll have you talk about it more. But I'll go through it then. All right. So Lupercal Light Maniple. So 3 Warhound Titans. You can add extra Warhounds in. So this is the lightest you're gonna get. So it's Manifiltrate. It's hunting pack. It says working closely together, the Warhound Titans surround and pick off their foes, many times their size. The big key of what they actually do. I noticed for some of these they add fluff in their little sayings, and other ones they don't. I find that odd. At the beginning of the round, any or all of the Warhounds within the Maniple can be formed into a squadron with other members in their Maniple. These squadrons last until the end of the round.
This makes Warhound so good.
Yes.
Oh my god. So the reason it does this is 1, it lets you play a lot with activation economy, on a turn-by-turn basis. It lets you play with your shield sharing on a turn-by-turn basis. It lets you do coordinated strike stuff on a turn-by-turn. Like, every turn, you could change who's loaded up with who. So you can have one guy stripping shields, another one's outflanking to get bonuses. So you have a squadron, right? If squadron all attacks same target with at least one weapon, then they all get a bonus of +1 to do damage to armor, called coordinated strike. So you could get a +3 between being in the rear arc and coordinated strike on a Warhound, which turns Mega Bolters into strength 7 weapons, for example. It's nice. And being able to change up who's in a squadron and who's not is really good, because what my buddy likes to do is have a knot of 3 of Warhounds just marching up the board that are all sharing shields in a little triangle. And as long as they're going across the board, I really can't scratch them. They'll have like 2 off on the side doing something, right? But if I finally crack through the shields, and there's like 9 shields between these 3 Warhounds, and they're all taking turns pushing their reactors to spread out the heat, damage from it. They've all got the free push on the shields for 10 points, because, of course you take that war gear upgrade when you have the points spare. If I finally crack it, okay, cool. One Warhound leaves the triangle, and a new one walks in, joins the squadron, and is, now the rock of a new triangle. It's really nice. And if you have to really kill something, or you really need everyone to get an order off, and you have all 5 Warhounds taking 1 order, you have your Princeps in there giving a +2 to the order. Each additional Warhound past the first, getting the same order, is another +1.
Yeah.
You could get a +6 to your command check.
Yeah.
Theoretically. It's nuts. Like, this makes Warhounds, they're already a flexible Titan in terms of mobility. This makes them flexible, like, almost across the board.
So you answered my first sort of question or thought with this, was because normally you're restricted to 3 things in a squadron. This just says any or all can squadron as you like. So this isn't restricted. Is it? I would read it as no.
No, you could go up to 5. This
Yeah.
breaks the base rule of Warhounds.
Which, yeah, you might only have one. 5 of them is still cheap enough. You can have some other stuff. But if you really need to get through something, I'm going for. I have the first. I'll be going first this round, say in shooting phase. Yeah, I'm gonna put them all together. I'm gonna crush whatever Titan I want.
Exactly, and it's also very worth noting, and that since you mentioned crushing things, this Maniple at its minimum points value is 600 points exactly.
Yeah,
which means you can squeeze in War Masters to 1750 point games.
Yep, which is what I do.
And you still get all the Warhound flexibility with activations, so you could drop in two drops. War Master, 3 Warhounds, right?
Yep.
Which means you get the D10 to have the first go.
Yeah.
But then in turn 1, you change up your squadrons to be 3 individual Warhounds plus the War Master, giving you 4 activations. So you could stall out on movement, so your War Master is lined up on something and just ruins its day. Or you start with the War Master, ruin something with the first fire that's in front of you that made a mistake, and then the Warhounds all get to move and outflank and set up for the following turn. Like, it's nice. The activation play is probably the strongest aspect of this. Maybe tied with the shields. The shields might tie with the activation play. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Broken? No.
No. Because these things will still die real easy.
They actually nerfed the Maniple. It used to also give an additional +1 to coordinated strikes, or +2 instead of a +1. They determined that was too much and quietly pulled that out of the rules when they released the Legio books. Honestly, you don't even miss it because it's still such a good Maniple.
It's such a damn good Maniple. And again, you can run the War Master. I will double. I think did we play a 1750 game or did we play 2000?
I think you guys played 2000.
It was 17. We played 2000, but we were originally looking at 1750, which is why you started out with this.
I did a War Master and 3. Well, we did 2000, so I did more Warhounds. I think I did 4 essentially. But yeah, no, a War Master and 3 Warhounds is a actual list. And by the way, the War Master could take plasma as their titty weapons, I guess is what they're called.
That's not what they're called.
They get a +1 at long range. I'm pretty sure it says right there in the Principal Bellicosa Titanica.
Sure. Almost 100% certain it says titty weapons.
No, it doesn't.
But what's weird, the War Master gets a +1 to hit with the plasma guns at long range instead of a -1. And they did FAQ that is correct and intentional. So the War Master plasmas are really nice.
He's on 2.
The War Master cannot be your Princeps because it's not in a Maniple.
Yes, which
that is something to note. But like,
bad.
It is how you get the War Master into games that aren't silly big, or the upper end of normal.
All right.
All right. I guess I'll take the Fortis.
All right.
Fuck up. Fortis.
Right, I thought Dan was doing Fortis. You were doing Ferrix.
Sorry, yeah, I got it mixed up.
Wait a minute.
Go for it.
Fortis.
I'm like
taking Fortis away from Fury.
If it has Warlords in it, Dan wants to talk about it.
You know what? That's a fair point.
That's all it boils down to. Oh, it's got Warlords. He wants to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's got Warlords. What the fuck? No, so Fortis is what we were talking about before, the most defensible Maniple. It does have its problems, but again, Furion kind of the reason I like this because Furion does kind of with its is it stratagem? What the fuck is it called? I wanted to call it a stratagem.
It's a stratagem.
Legio trait?
No, it's a Legio stratagem.
Legium stratagem. Okay, so with its stratagem, it actually does help a little bit, but let's talk about it. So a Fortis Maniple. Its mandatory is 1 Warlord and 2 Reavers. Look at that. And its optional is another Warlord and another Reaver. So essentially, this Maniple is, well, kind of in the name, Fortis. It's all about the defense. So standing shoulder, pretty much. The Titans of the Fortis Battle Maniple shrug off, devastate, blah, 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 fluff, fluff, fluff. All right. When a Titan in a Fortis Battle Maniple is in base contact with another Titan in the Maniple, and neither Titan has moved in the movement phase, that's big, the Titan ignores armor roll modifier results from structural damage or being attacked on the flank or rear. So before I read the next one, I want to focus on that real quick.
Finish the rule first.
One of the big things Steve said before was that the biggest problem with a Warlord is if you flank it or you get behind it, right? If you're base touching and you do not move, now that flank attack or that rear attack, you don't get the bonus to damage at all. So the Lupercal Manicle that does get that bonus, to flanking and all that nonsense, just doesn't get it. Oh, I got Vulcan Mega Bolters in your back. I'm at plus bleh. And you're like, nope, no, you're not. You're
going to bounce.
Strength 4. It's going to bounce off nothing because I'm a fucking Warlord. So
Warlord's like armor 12, right? Like armor 12 mid on everything?
Body is 12, head is 13.
Yeah.
Question mark.
That means that you need at least strength 6 to maybe scratch it.
Yep. So, yeah. And so that's really big. But again, you cannot move, which sucks. Now, by the way, it does mention the movement phase. I'm going to pause real quick. It does say the movement phase, meaning if you have the Princeps trait that lets you pivot when making an attack 45 degrees, which is why I like this with Furians, you're not moving in the movement phase. You're moving in the... yes.
Yeah.
Now
Dan
you know where I'm
cheese
going with it. No. So what you could do is move one of the Warhounds or move one of the Warlords up, and then in case they go left or right, pivot at 45 degrees so that it's still touching the other Warlord, but it moved in the shooting phase. And then, oh no, I'm at -1 hit. That sucks. But you're Furian. As long as you're outside of 12 inches, you don't give a shit. You ignore that -1. So that's why this is really cool, for Furian at least.
You got to learn to start talking about things outside of your own faction.
Well, it's the only faction I fucking play.
Just talk
no,
about
I do want to play.
then.
No, but even a Storm. No. So even a Storm, this is great.
The other one
because again, you take the Princeps trait because that's the next Maniple I want to start. You take the Princeps trait to rotate 45 degrees. Okay, now I have the -1 hit. But a Storm is so good with shields and re-rolling shields and re-rolling one, or they get the extras and stuff. This makes
just stacking endurance on endurance.
Yeah, on endurance. What the fuck do you do with this Warlord Titan that's now sitting in the middle of the table? But the second thing that it does, and this is just adding more endurance on endurance. In addition, Titans in the Fortress Battle Maniple may merge their Void Shields. Now, this is super big because it's not saying if they don't move, they merge their Void Shields. No. It's in addition, just Titans in this Maniple merge Void Shields. Now, the previous iteration of this was they both couldn't move to merge their Void Shields. That was the previous. They got rid of that. Now it's just, if they want to, the Reaver can merge with the Warlord, the Reavers can merge with the Reavers, the Warlords can merge with the Warlords. This is fucking... Because let's say, it's... Warhounds aren't next to me. They're not going to flank me. There's no rear. They're too far away for now. But they're in range of their Vulcan Mega Bolters, which can absolutely strip my shields bare, right? Steve moves up 2 Warhounds with, 4 Vulcan Mega Bolters aimed at my Warlords. This is going to suck. But they're not in my flank career, so who cares, right? Just walk both Warlords up and touch. And now you have... Oh, crap. I should have had my... I don't have a thing. How many Warlord shields does it take? What's a fucking Warlord?
Oddly enough, I have Battlescribe open. It doesn't even... I'm not even seeing it now when I look at it.
Oh, but okay. So, boy, even if it's 6, that's 12 fucking Void Shields. That's 12 Void Shields.
It might be 5. It might be 5. Might be
10 Void Shields.
It's 10 is still a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
And then...
And it's a very long 3-up track.
Wait. Fun fact. It doesn't say it stops. So you want to merge one Warlord, and a Reaver because whatever? Sure.
I
So
would move Warlords first and then
yes,
Reavers
the Reaver,
Yes.
yes.
because the Reaver's the flexible move,
The big
so they can
problem
make
here
up
is
for mistakes.
There's a lot of big problems, I
the
think.
next problem is the movement. The movement on this Maniple sucks bad. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Lord have mercy on my soul. This is a slow Maniple. But you're
I
not,
mean,
this Maniple is
you could full stride if you just want to go straight forwards.
yeah, I
You
think the
you
big
could
problem
not
is
move in the movement phase and full stride in the
this
shooting
is
phase.
I think this is one of those Maniples that looks really easy to play, looks really fun to play, but I dare say is actually one of the hardest ones to play because it requires such a degree of precise movement and thinking ahead that this is it, like this is one of those Maniples that's, oh, look at this, I can merge this and this. But it requires you to think about where your opponent's moving, what he's doing. It's one of those. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly. Is the problem?
I
It,
feel
it
like this is a maniple that wants to be souped with a second maniple in a bigger game.
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Like a minimum Fortis and then like a Lupercal or a Venator to round out the points. So you have something that moves and something that's your fucking anvil, like your fucking rock. It's
depending
your
on
anchor.
what your mission is and all what you're actually trying to do to win, this Maniple I think can absolutely struggle with that because to get the bonuses out, yeah, everyone's moving much slower, everyone's staying together. Maybe I'm not getting all my bonuses to your side, but if I'm on your side, you're not shooting me. And
Exactly.
and so one thing you said, Dan, is like, oh, you can take the Warlord trait that lets you rotate. The bases are oblong. They're not round. If you rotate,
Oh, that's
unless you
right.
start positioned perfectly, you're not
Right.
going to touch anymore.
But
That's
no,
not how
what I'm
shapes
saying is-
work.
No, but I was gonna say you would have to. Again, this goes back to you would have to be able to position it correctly. If I see
There's
Steve's Warhounds
almost
are
no
very
way to do that because they're oblong.
well, no,
Uh,
you would like take the other, move the Warlord up,
Yeah.
how up 2 inches, and
Okay.
then if Steve's Warhounds go to the left side or right, or what I'm saying is like, let's say Steve moves his Warhounds to my right side, right?
So your idea is they're not touching to begin with. They're going to touch when you rotate it.
Well, no, let's say they're touching to begin with.
Then you can't rotate
He
them.
moves. No.
Yeah, because you're rotating around the center.
No,
You're
I
either
know. But
going to get
what I'm saying is they're
bigger
touching
or
to-
smaller.
Hold on, let me finish. They're touching to begin with. Steve
Okay.
moves his Warhounds to my right flank.
Sure.
I move the Warlord up 2 inches, right? Which normally could not be done, but in the shooting phase, I rotate him.
But then you're losing the benefit because you moved to the moving phase.
No. Well, no. Oh, yeah.
That
you're
is
right.
what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're going to, that Warlord
It's a
trait is
trap.
useless in this. Because
Yeah.
if you want your benefit, you're going to lose it because you're going to stop touching
Well,
the
no,
Titans.
because you save the Princeps for last, and then you spring it. Your Princeps should have a finisher configuration if you're going to try that. I think.
Yeah. Your Princeps is not going. Essentially, you're not going to be touching the Titans until you turn. Because if you're touching before, you're not going to be able to turn.
Yeah.
Side by side, you could do it.
If you turn more than a few degrees
You would
side by
lose-
side, you're going
you
to stop
would lose
touching them.
contact.
Yeah, you're going to lose contact, which means you lose your bonus.
Right. Well, yeah, but at that point, at the end of the turn, you don't need the bonus anymore.
But it only counts while they're touching, right? At all times?
Right. But I'm saying at the last thing you do is you use your Princeps, and he turns and attacks something. So at that point,
okay.
like the turn is essentially over, and you've weathered the bulk of the storm.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
You would have to do it that way. Yeah, you'd have to be able to let him essentially go last. Yeah. Which on a Warlord probably not as tough of a play to be able to do, but yeah, you'd have to wait on him. But I don't know. It's okay. I think it's a bit of a trap, honestly.
Yeah. I think that movement is a huge part of this game.
Yeah.
And losing out on movement is
bad.
such
I agree.
downside.
Yes.
Like you
I
could
agree.
almost auto lose scenarios if you try to use these Legion rules, these Maniple
absolutely.
rules.
Wait, Steve, remember the 1 versus 2 game I played where I was playing
Yes.
double with her? This would be a great second Maniple to bring.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I was saying, like it's a
2v2 game.
good anvil for a hammer and anvil setup
Yes.
in a larger game.
Yeah.
It's a good support man. It's gonna be weird to say, but it's a good support maniple.
It is. It's not. It overall. I don't think it's a good maniple if this is the main thing you're running, because you might not have much else, and you
It
might
can be
not
fun in
be
a
able to
scenario,
play scenarios.
like
Yeah,
a defend the castle scenarios. This could be an absolute blast.
yeah.
But you're not launching an assault with this.
No, you are not.
No. All right. Why don't you take the Ferrix Light Maniple there, Steve?
Yes, you will.
Yeah, this is what I was getting excited for, but the next was Ferrix Light
That's okay.
Maniple is my child. Dave also absolutely loves this maniple.
I do.
It is base configurement, 1 Reaver and 2 Warhounds. You could then add in another Reaver and another Warhound for 2 Reavers, 3 Warhounds, which is actually a somewhat common composition I'm noticing.
Yeah.
Manifiltrate Knife Fighters. Essentially, if you are in the shadow of a Titan, you get a bonus to do damage against it. And you could always choose whether you want to use your weapon skill or your ballistic skill when making attacks. Well, when within 2. And you can use your ballistic skill because odds are it's better, unless you're someone weird like Volta or something.
True.
Um,
I like the first part. The second part never helps me, but I like the first part.
Yeah. I love that first part because it affects everything. It means your smash attacks now essentially scale +2. So Warhounds doing smash attacks at strength 8, making them a viable melee option if you get a long charge off. Reavers get even more terrifying because your power fists are essentially strength 10, and your chain fists are essentially strength 9. I love this maniple. Being able to pick weapon skill, ballistic skill means that instead of having to hit on 4s with whatever modifiers, you're hitting on 3s with whatever modifiers. So if you have, for example, a power fist that's a +1 to hit, normally it hits on 3s because 4 + 1 is 3. You're hitting on 2s.
Yeah.
If you have a chain fist, you're hitting on 1s, which means that if your opponent has like a negative to hit, you could ignore it. You could use your guns in melee, which is why I actually usually rock up with an all range loadout in this maniple with one of my Reavers. It'll be a Melta Cannon, a Gatling gun, and something up top. Usually like a Vulcan Mega Bolter or a Turbo Laser, depending on how I'm feeling that day. The idea is the Mega Bolter would strip shields, or the lasers held off. Whatever happens, the Melt Cannon does wholesale damage, and then you follow up with the Gatling. Because when you're targeting within 2 inches of something, it's only -1 to hit. So your base BS3 takes a -1 to 4, and then a +1 for short back to 3. Oh my god, it absolutely butchers things.
It helps take those weapons that are very meh in terms of once your shields are gone and starts making them a threat. One extra makes a difference. Really
yes, because what it does is makes like a strength 4 bolter into a strength 5 bolter. If you're flanking, it's strength 6. If you're hard flanking, it's strength 7.
Yeah.
If you have your Warhounds doing a coordinated strike, it's strength 8.
Mm-hmm.
Existing damage could be up to strength 11 total.
Yeah.
It's nuts. I mean, I think there's also a war gear option you could take that would push it another point further. You could stack some crazy mods on with this. And as a Legio Gryphonicus player, I get to pick out a Titan target for my Titans. And until a different Titan in my Legio attacks that Titan, I get to reroll 1s, which is just cool. I also get a +1 to armor rolls, which is going to stack with this. So up close, we're getting +2. It makes a difference. It absolutely makes a difference. So I love the Ferrix. I have unfortunately defaulted to it for like 2 years straight.
Yeah, so
I'm working on breaking out of it.
I think that's what I want to do. Of course, Titan in my possession dependent, but I want to use ones that I have not used, ones that maybe even I look, I'm like, I don't really like that, just to try it to see. Because usually I go with the Ferrix, because I'm like, well, based off what I'm playing, I want to get close. This one wants me to be close. all right, hey, that's a very natural fit. I want to start trying out some different things, especially when we want to start talking about different legios and all. I'd like to actually play mine as something different just to get a feel for them, because it's hard to talk about how something is when you don't have the experience with it.
Yup. And
So,
other thing too is like Ferrix scales points wise nicely.
yeah, it does.
And by that I mean like you could play it in small games because it's a Reaver and 2 Warhounds. But you could also, the second Reaver now brings up like a medium-sized game with just the Maniple.
Yep.
And then you throw in some knights and you have like a big game. Or you could, do this and another small Maniple. Like it's a great thing to start out with, build up from, build toward, like whatever direction you want to take. Like it's a great choice. Like some of the other men, like the Fortis Maniple, like you kind of locked into medium to large games because it's, Warlord and 2 Reavers. This, whatever size it is, you could play this Maniple.
Yeah. You
Dan,
have a lot of options.
You've been on the receiving end.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of new maniples, the next one, it's something I've been running more and more actually. I'll go to the next one if you guys are done.
Yeah, go for
I'll
it.
take the next one.
Yeah.
That's the Arcus. And I've just been running this one more because it actually is kind of fun, and also again because of Furion. Arcus Maniple uses the Warbringer Titan as the mandatory, and 2 Warhound Titans, and then it has 2 additional Warhound Titans as its optional. So you could have 1 and 2 to 4 Warhounds. And basically, what this one does, and Steve actually corrected me because I was actually playing it wrong before, in a bad way. I was hurting myself, and Steve had to correct me to help myself. So the Warbringer Nemesis Titan from this Maniple can attack enemy units indirectly if they do not have line of sight to that unit, so long as the target is within line of sight of the Warhound Titan from this Maniple. So essentially now your Warbringer, which by the way can take a Warlord weapon on the Carapace, and also I'll get to what its arm weapons are going to be in a second, but it now does not lead line of sight. It can shoot. Now how a volcano cannon arcs its shot over a building, I don't know.
It's like NBA Jam when you're a kid from downtown.
Supercharged, goes right through
the building, exactly.
Goes right through.
But I just one of those things where I'm like,
He fires it from downtown.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So firing indirectly in this manner confers a -2 modifier on the 2 hit roll, which for Furion becomes -1. In addition, an attack with blast. Now this is where I fucked up, and I was laughing when Steve told me. In addition, an attack with a blast weapon from the Warbringer Nemesis Titan that misses scatters D6 instead of D10 inches when it's in line of sight of the Warhound. I kept thinking it was D10. Steve had to walk over and be like, no, Dan, it is D6. And I'm like, excuse me? Yes. So basically, I was running a Warbringer with, it was a corrupted Warbringer, mind you, with a triple Volcano Cannon. So 2 Volcano Cannons on its arms, and a Volcano Cannon on its Carapace.
Oh my god!
Which,
so burned up like the sun.
Dan was wondering. Yes, Dan is a bad person.
No, hold on. Now, mind you, this is going to suck for a Furion because we actually have to roll command checks on blanks and also machine spirits. So we're rolling command checks a third of the time rather than a sixth of the time, which does suck. And a corrupted Titan makes you minus. -3 or -2 to command checks.
Yeah.
And I gave him Frozen Soul only because Frozen Soul helped me with the goddamn heat that I was generating. So you roll like this, but now you're shooting. You stick it behind a building. You're shooting Volcano Cannon shots 120 inches, so the whole 4-foot board behind a building that they cannot see you. And you're only scattering, now that I know this, 1d6. So that small 3-inch blast template is most likely going to hit you. That Carapace weapon, that's a large ordnance blast template, which I believe is 5 inches, will absolutely hit you every single time. The hole might not be over you, but it'll still clip you. And that's really, 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 really good.
Dan, it gets better.
Wait. I'm not done. Hold on.
Oh, you're still. I apologize.
No, well, as I was thinking about this, I started getting cheesier. I
The way the
started-
game should be
I
played, of course.
Yes, the way the game should know. Never do this. So I was thinking, okay, so you run the Corrupted Titan, you run the Triple Volcano, right? Whatever. And then Furion, right? I didn't even give it to the damn Maniple. I didn't even realize I could. But you can take the Furion Maniple, the stratagem, which is your Maniple gets to fire an additional weapon for an extra heat. Basically, you spend 1 heat to fire an additional a weapon in addition again, basically. So you can essentially have 4 volcano shots, or 2 arm shots and 2 carapace shots downrange, which is just an obscene amount of firepower. Now they have their void shields up.
That's a Warhound.
Come back later.
They could fix it.
Yeah.
Warhounds, yeah, exactly. But if it's someone's this happened during the game. They didn't kill it, but it was a double shot to the body, which crippled it, 1 shot to the legs, which hurt it very badly, and 1 shot to the head, which hurt it. The Titan was just like knocked. And yeah, it was just really cool. To be fair, we were also playing like on a fucking 12 by 4 foot board. So the fact that it was arcing shots halfway across the goddamn city was just a really cool thing to imagine. Now, what were you going to say, Steve? Now I'm curious.
Oh, so I was going to say, in Legio Mordaxis, you could upgrade 3-inch blasts to 5-inch blasts.
Wait, what happens to 5-inch blasts?
Well, the carapace is 5, but the arms
are
only
just 3.
3-inch blasts.
So you're just tossing 3 5-inch blasts.
Yeah.
Great.
Ooh, and also note, you don't only have indirect fire with the blast weapons. You could indirect fire like laser blasters or whatever.
Yes, true. I should
indirect fire Gatling guns.
But
like,
no,
all your weapons gain the option.
Oh, but where's the fun in that? No,
If you're not worried about literally exploding your Titan, you can take other weapons.
Okay, explode my Titan every single. I don't think my Warbringer has ever died to enemy fire. I wanted to say I've either killed it from just pinging the body from orange, or I've detonated it from red.
Well, yeah, with the weapons you're running, yes, that's exactly how it will die.
That's how it's supposed to do. No.
Yeah, this is absolutely a fun Maniple to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you don't play Titanicus to see you win. Sometimes you play Titanicus to just see literally the world burn. And I do mean literally.
A big thing to note, this is indirect fire. This is not the barrage special rule.
No.
So there is a stratagem for forward observers that let your barrage weapons fire indirectly at full effect, even as long as the spotters can draw line of sight. That does not work for this.
No.
But you do get the D6 scatter when you have line of sight. So you could, hit on a 3-up with a D6 scatter if you have line of sight with both the Warhound and the Warbringer. It's nice. Arcus is nice. Who wants to take Ruptura?
I'll take that one.
Because I want to take Mandatum.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll take Ruptura.
Okay.
All right. So for the Ruptura Battleline Maniple, so you have to bring 2 Warbringers for this one and 1 Reaver. Optional, you can throw up to 2 more Reavers into it. So this is Artillery Bastion. Once per round, a Reaver in this Maniple can declare power to locomotors without pushing the reactor. So just further movement, no issues. Very good. In addition, when enemy unit suffers catastrophic damage as a result of attack made by one of the Warbringer Nemesis Titans from this Maniple, each of the Reavers, so 1 mandatory, you could have up to 2 more, each of those Reavers can immediately make a move as if it were the movement phase. A Reaver Titan cannot benefit from this ability if it's prevented from moving. I don't have 2 Warbringer Nemesis Titans, so I've never run this. I do like it overall. I like the fact that each of these so once per round, a Reaver Titanus Maniple can declare. So that's only one of them gets to declare it, not each one gets to declare it in a single round, yes?
One of them goes fast without pushing the reactor.
Okay. Still not bad. I mean, with them, I'm not quite so concerned with pushing the reactor. Still useful, though. Needing to get them to suffer catastrophic damage to then get the movement.
It's
I
a hard
don't.
sell.
Yeah, I don't know. It's you can envision that perfect case where that happens, and then you're able to get closer up the board because you have them geared out for close quarters battle. You got a melee weapon and something else like a Gatling blast, something that's shorter range that you want to get into someone's face, but you need to be causing catastrophic damage. And we're looking at what? Probably 4, 8. Looking at what? Probably near 1,200 points for what's in here if you're taking the minimums. Once you throw weapons on them, I didn't throw any weapons on it first, but once you throw those, yeah, I don't know. I think it would have very cool stories, but I think very often it's not going to do you much of anything.
Agreed. I'm not in love with this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you here. This one is more like meh.
I mean, because what could, if you don't put anything special on them, what could we get out of here with if we don't actually want to put anything fancy on?
Hold on. In addition, when none of those catastrophic, maybe like maybe a trader player. Okay, I got this. Maybe a trader player, because a Warbringer is going to do catastrophic damage to something. Because
over time, though.
It means it has to kill it.
But here's
that's to outright kill an enemy Titan. So it has to be
no. It just
one
says
of
when the unit suffers catastrophic. Oh, catastrophic has to kill.
Yeah. Catastrophic's the actual death.
How big do I explode?
Yeah.
You were thinking critical damage. If it was critical, I would. I don't. If it was critical, I don't think it would be overpowered, but I would like it more. Catastrophic, it has to kill something.
Yeah, okay, never mind.
You're looking at a minimum 375 per Warbringer if you're keeping them cheap as can be, and I don't think that's the right way to run them.
No, because you're not going to kill anything like that.
And then you have your Reaver's going to have to be quite a bit more as well, because even if you keep them as cheap as can be, we're looking at for Reaver, you're looking at near 290. So yeah, you're looking at near 1,200 points. Close to bare bones, probably 1,400 the way you'd want to run them, and then you're still just hoping you kill something.
Okay, here we go. Maybe it's the only Maniple I see that you can bring to Warbringer Titans.
If you need to fit things in your Maniple, yeah, you could take them outside though. I would rather take, the Arcus or something like that with one. If I want 2 Warbringers, I'll bring that and I'll just bring the separate one. Or or something else and throw a couple Warbringers in. Take a Lupercal, take a Ferrix, and I'll throw some of these guys
actually, it is an auxiliary Titan, so you have at most one added per Maniple. So an Arcus plus an extra, yeah.
Yeah, so if you really want to run 2, that's a way to run 2.
Fortidus, you could sub out a Warhound for an extra Warbringer, and it would still get the arcing fire. So Fortidus, you might enjoy Arcus and pretend it's a Ruptura. Well, sorry. Make a better Arcus. Rupture is not. I don't see any real.
No, honestly, I think Dan's right. The only reason is if you really want 2 Warbringers. If that's like you're really wanting that, there's a way you could do it. I don't think it's going to be very good. Like I said, you'll get one cool story. You'll do it at some point where then you're going to push. You get into range, and you're going to put a power fist through some other Titan's face with your Reaver, and it'll be neat. And that'll be the only time it ever happens. And every other time you'll be sad.
Yep, pretty much.
So
all
right, let's get to something better. Take me to a better Maniple.
I am enjoying this Maniple. So in my efforts to break for my infinite Ferrix loop, I said, you know what's not a Ferrix Maniple? Warlord Titans. You know what model I really need to finish building and painting? My Warlord Titans. Let me motivate myself by playing a Maniple with a Warlord Titan in it and see how I like it. I love this Maniple. Its base component is a Warlord and 2 Warhounds, and it can take up to 2 additional Warhounds. Essentially, it is a Hound Master and his Hounds. It's a hunting pack. If your Warlord Titan's alive, Warhounds get a bonus of 2 to their command checks. Go from a 5 up to a 3 up. That's huge.
Very much.
It makes your orders actually reliable on Warhounds, which is not at all a normal thing. And this is what I really love about it. Warhound Titans get an extra +1 to hit for all attacks made against targets within 12 inches of a Warlord Titan. That's nice. It can make up for target attacks if you're trying to make turbo lasers work. I feel like this is a good Maniple for that, because the -2 for targeting is partially canceled out by that +1. It makes plasmas nice at long range. It's just nice to get a +1 to hit. That is not a common thing in this game.
No,
I think Dan would really get a lot out of this Maniple with his Furians, because if you stack the +1 with the ignore a -1, that could be nice.
What is that? 1 Warlord, 2 Reavers, 4. I'd have to buy 2 more Reavers. I don't want to.
No, Warhounds.
Hounds. You're looking at the wrong one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Warlord and Warhounds.
Yeah. So Dan, what's really nice about this is that your Warhounds with a +1 to hit are hitting on 2s with their Mega Bolters at 20 inches. You're hitting on 1s.
Or hitting on 3s with plasma.
8. Yeah, or 3s with plasma at short. I mean, at long, yeah.
Or 2s with plasma.
Or 2s at short, yeah. Like, this is nice.
No. 2s at long.
So, yeah. So, with this Maniple, you want a up-close-ish Warlord. I would not invest 20 points in the Carapace weapon, because minimum ranges on a Warlord suck. If you're not in a Warlord and Warmaster heavy meta, the Packmaster means your Warlord is probably not shooting its Carapace too many times. So keep that cheap. But your arm weapons, you could go all out with those short range weapons. I think this would be great for Gatlings, plasmas, and you could even throw a fist in here and not feel like a complete idiot. Because you're literally spending the entire game pushing your Warlord to move. And even at 6 inches, which is slow, you're gonna cross the table eventually.
Hey Steve, you want to
if you full stride it, you could go 12. I know. You could warp displacement as a trader and all that silliness.
Yeah, no. Not even screw the trader stuff. Give the Warhounds the Furion targeting.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. So you do targeted shots at base ballistic skill.
No. They hit their plasmas on 2s at long range.
Oh, you're a bad person.
Yeah, because they get +1 to hit.
Why did I mention this? Why did I have to mention your Furions?
So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. What are they? 2 shots each? So, yeah, 1, 2, 2, 4. 4, 8, 12, 16 plasma shots hitting at 2s at 24 inches.
It's nice.
What? That's gross. Although your Warhounds are now going to cost. Oh, God. Hold on. How much are Warhounds? 180?
180 base.
They are 240 with double plasmas.
Yeah, 240.
And then, so they'd be 255 with.
Honestly, worth it.
Yeah, that's worth it.
The hit on 2s at 24 inches with plasmas, worth it, because that's effective shield stripping and damage dealing as required.
I want to try this now. Steve, come over to my house. Let's do this.
No,
that doesn't sound like a fun game at all.
This one. I think Dave's got this one.
As long as you don't run Fortis, fine. Oh no, sorry, not Fortis. As long as you don't run your actual Legio, because that doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, no, it does not.
Yep, run it as a different Legio, and we'll do it.
You know what? Run Rupture against this, because I have to see, just how horrible a game can go. I think that's probably the worst I could ever see this game being. Rupture into this monstrosity of Furions.
You've never thought about that before. I haven't read about that at all.
Yeah, this is one of the newer Maniples. This I want to say is like Rupture and Arcus was Shadow and Iron. So this would be what was the one after that? I'm blanking on the names.
The names are all so weird.
And they all start blending towards the end. Like the first 3 were distinct.
I'll pull it up.
Crucible of Retribution, I want to say. It's like, I think it's around there. So yeah, this is motivating me to actually finish my Warlords because
That's
this is
actually,
fun.
yeah, I did not think of that as that. Okay.
And because it's a Warlord and 2 Warhounds, by the way, the only Maniple that's a Warlord and 2 Warhounds, so it's the cheapest way to squeeze in a Warlord. Um, you can even play this in a 750 game. Because the Warhounds, no, you can't. I can't do math. You can squeeze it to 1,000 point
Wait,
game.
what?
Yeah.
I'm literally what?
Yeah, Crucible Retribution, I think, is the one you're
can't.
thinking of, yeah.
Yeah. This would be a nice 1,000 point list, I feel,
I agree.
with the minimum. Because it makes the Warhounds like super tweaked, and a Warlord is just brutal at that size because it's hard to counter a Warlord at that size game. So this is definitely one to watch out for.
If there was ever a tournament for Titanicus, I feel like, which I don't want ever to happen. Please don't turn Titanicus into 40K.
Yeah, and that's what's happening next month.
Yeah,
at
they're
Toy
playing
Wiz
a tournament. Here's the
on
thing,
April
though.
9th.
You
It's a
can
tournament.
you can play a tournament and just have
It's
fun.
a
You don't have to bring the
we all
craziest
know each
shit.
other. If you're a dick, we're dragging you off the campus and we're just gonna kick you in the dick till you repent. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't bring 4 plazas. I almost want to bring it just to play one game. Oh no, you can't change the list, obviously. Damn, I do want to try it though. Oh my god, that is stupid nasty.
Have fun playing a game by yourself.
No, yeah, exactly. Oh my god,
You have enough Titans to play against yourself, Dan. You can do it.
You could do that, actually.
I could. Oh,
Tell you what,
God.
when we start recording stuff, because I'm getting some different things set up for recording, we'll record that and we'll show just how bad it is, and we'll put that on YouTube.
Oh God.
Oh God.
I'll title the video "A Slaughter," and no, I'll have to title it something that won't get it flagged by YouTube. I'll come
We're
up
not
with
gonna
something.
fight it immediately.
All right, so for these last ones, since there's a lot of these, and maybe in the future we'll go through them in more detail, but we're gonna try to rapid fire through these last ones here. So I think Steve was gonna take Perpetua.
Yeah, so Perpetua Maniple, it's like the other Fortis. Basically it's like the Myrmidon of defense, I want to call it. So it's a Warlord and 2 Reavers. You could add 2 more Reavers, and its thing is you get emergency repairs on a 2-up no matter what. And you get an extra die for repairs during damage control phase, specifically, if they did not move. So it's like a half Myrmidon, half Fortis sort of deal. I feel like this is really cool for story reasons.
Yeah.
But like the Fortis, it's a trap because
Agreed.
if you're constantly emergency repairing, you are going to find yourself at you're playing half an army at a time when you do that, half a game at a time, because either you're moving or you're attacking. But I feel like you're not going to use the repairs often,
I should
but
point
it
out.
is clutch to get it on 2-ups unmodifiable.
We'll point out that with
And the bonus defense dice
I was just gonna
is
say,
all the time, as long as you haven't moved. But again, you're giving up movement.
Legio Storm was really good with this because they already get the reroll repair dice rolls, and so just adding already another dice to it that can also as well be repaired makes for a very good kind of durable Maniple because they can reroll. That's what it is. So
This is as long as you don't move. So like the Fortis, you get slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those Maniples that's annoying to fight, not so much one that's fun to play.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither of you is going to have a great time.
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
here just rolling to stay alive. You're here rolling to kill me. That was a really fun game. It's like the Fortis, it's like a scenario one, I feel. It's like there's a scenario you have in mind. This Maniple could be used to play out the story.
Yeah.
This next one, though.
Yeah.
This is a Dan one, I feel.
Do you want to run through this, Dan, or do you want me to?
Yeah, take this one because I'm going to wait for Dominus
That's fine.
This one.
So this is the Exogenous Battleline Maniple. So it's 3 Warlords. If that's not enough, throw an extra Warlord in. You still don't like it, throw a Warbringer in there. Scorched Earth. So during the combat phase. So that's important. It's in the combat phase. So you can't do this if you do first fire in the movement phase. But during the combat phase, When you're going to make an attack with a weapon that's not a melee weapon, you may increase the strength value of the weapon by 2 for the duration of the attack. You have to declare before rolling to hit. If you do so, your reactor level is going to go up by 1, or it's going to go up by 2 if it has a dice value of 5 or greater. So if you're firing with a big a weapon with a lot of dice. And this is in addition to anything else that advances the track that the weapon fires. So, I mean, it's got to be a hefty game if you're talking about 3, maybe wanting to bring something extra. I do like the ability a lot. I do like this quite a bit.
The cool rule.
It is very cool. You're getting a little hotter, but you're on Warlords. You're not quite as worried about that. And +2 on the weapon, or you may be getting hotter by 1 or 2 depending on it, but a +2, that's huge.
Strength 12 plasma, or strength 14 if you do experimental weaponry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
overcharged cannon, but yeah. I want to try this with Gryphonicus, subbing in Reavers for the Warlords. Because that brings Reaver up to Warlord strength tier at the cost of some heat.
Yeah. The problem to me with this is I would need to have 3 Warlords, and I do not. Otherwise, I would absolutely try this, because I think even some of the other guns that, you know, maybe don't take quite as much could actually still be really, really great.
I think that could be amazing with the Volkite. Oh, God.
The Volkite Destructors?
Yeah, because when you do the beam attack, it auto hits, and you target.
Yeah.
Getting +2 strength on top of that.
Yes, now you're sitting
if you're
strength
attacking
8.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's strength 10. Right? Because it's base strength 8?
No, base strength 6 on Volkite Destructors.
So 6 goes up to 8,
yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah,
if it's
that's
previously damaged, that's an extra +1 to +3 potentially. Like that's a finisher Maniple. That's a finisher weapon in this Maniple.
Now
that's nice.
Makes attack with a weapon, increase that weapon. It is for each weapon though, the way I read it, that you would declare it. So if you're doing +2 on, it's not +2 to the Titan, it's like +2 to that weapon. So you are not going to want to put it on all your stuff. Like, you don't want to necessarily be running like, oh, I'm running all this heavy stuff and they're all +2. No, you're gonna burst into flames. You know, so put it on that lower weapon to make sure it hits. Still,
I do not mind.
Yeah, because you're gonna wreck your whole bit of your things there. All right, so next one up then is
this is a fun one.
Is Firmus. Do you want to go through this one, Steve? We'll save Dominus for Dan.
Yeah, we'll say that for Dan. So Firmus it's an interesting one. It's like an almost War Machine Maniple, I want to call it. Just because War Machine does weird stuff. That's why it's an almost Dominus. It's an almost Dominus Maniple. So it's composed of 1 Reaver and 2 Warhounds. It could add 2 more Reavers. So up to 3 Reavers and 2 Hounds. The special rule they get is when you attack a Titan in the Maniple, the owner of the target Titan can choose to try to reroute the attack to a different Titan in the Maniple, as long as the Titan's at least 50% visible. So basically, as long as they don't have heavy cover to the attacking unit. The attacker can then pass a command check to ignore the reroute and attack the original target. And this also would cancel out split fire if you fail that command check to ignore the penalty. It's an interesting one. I can't think of an amazing setup for it.
No.
But I do think that it could be used in the right person's hands.
Yeah.
I think this pairs nicely with Solaria's -1 to hit on Warhounds. As long as they haven't taken damage, because that is in addition to a -1 for light cover, or -2, which would be really nice if you happen to catch them failing their command check. That command check thing takes a lot of the oomph out of this Maniple.
It absolutely does. And the other thing, that the last little line they put separate, a unit can only be forced to take this check once per round.
Right. So if they pass that check, you can't force them to try again and again.
Yeah. So I mean, if they're on a first fire, you make them take it. They pass it. They're good the rest of the round. They don't have to ever try again.
Yup.
I'm not a big fan. I see it as a way you either put your Warhounds in front to save your Reaver, or you put your Reaver in front to save your Warhounds.
Exactly.
And
I think it pairs with stratagems and it pairs with Solaria. And that's
about it.
What it does.
Because the things that you're most worried about shooting at you are going to probably pass their command checks because they have really good command. I'm not worried about the Warhound on a command 5 shooting like my other Warhound. I'm worried about the Warlord who's sitting on a command 3, or maybe he's the Princeps sitting on command, Oh, no, sorry, he'd still be on 3 for this because it's not an order. Like, no, I'm not a huge fan
So basically, this Maniple depends on, the good roll of 1 eventually.
Yeah.
Which is not great.
Yeah. Or hope they brought Warhounds. Or hope they brought a Looper called Maniple. They brought
Corrupted Titans.
Yeah.
Hope they brought all Corrupted Titans.
Yeah. All right, Dan, speak to us of Dominus.
Dominus. So I actually tried Dominus when it came out in the White Dwarf. Mm-hmm. It didn't change. At least I don't think it did. And I love it. I actually do love it. This is actually one of my favorite top 3 favorite Maniples. This is the only time you'll see me run Knights too. I don't actually run Knights ever until I run this. So it's 1 Warlord, 2 Reavers, and then 2 Reaver Battlefans, and then 1 forced banner of either Questoris or Cerastus Knights.
Yep.
You can take an additional 2 Warhounds, and then you can take an additional banner of Knights. So you could take 1 Warlord, 2 Reavers, 2 Warhounds, 2 banners. It's very much like an Axiom if you think of it. But they get 2 Maniple traits. First of all, Knight banners that are included in the Dominus Battle Force cannot benefit from obscuring cover. So you can never have obscuring cover if you're a Knight banner.
Basically, no hit penalties for cover.
Yeah, you
have a line of sight or no line of sight.
Yeah. If a Knight banner from a Dominus Battle Force Maniple is wholly within 6 inches of a Titan from the same Maniple, and it says all Knights from the banner are within 6 inches, so you can't do that weird like one Knight.
That changed. That's what they changed.
Okay, so
yeah,
that
you used to be able to do that.
And both the Titan and at least 1 Knight from the banner is visible to the attacker. Attackers made from the Titan more than 2 inches away suffer a -1 hit modifier to hit roll. This is, again, what Steve said before. -1s are a dime a dozen, but adding another one out in the open is amazing, especially if you do this for a Warlord, right? So you do like a small contingent of Lancer banner, a small contingent of a Lancer banner protecting a Warlord, making him -1 to be hit on a Warlord is amazing. I'll tell you what I used to do with this in a couple seconds, though. Noble Sacrifice, when a Titan in the Dominus Battle Force Maniple takes a hit from an attacker originating more than 2 inches away, the Titan may transfer the hit to any Knight model from the same Maniple within 6 inches as long as that model is visible to the attacker. And the hit must be transferred before any armor rolls are made. So basically, and again, the chosen Knight suffers the full effects. You center the blast template over the Knight. Blah, 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 right? Basically, you can't cheese it. So you get the full effect. Your Knights will take the hit. And again, this is amazing. It's almost like the Regia Manifold, where you're sharing shields. Your Knights are taking hits for you. So all of a sudden, let's say, your shields are down and a Volcano Cannon comes in, right? That's going to fucking hurt. Take it on your Knight. Sure, they'll die.
Oh, man. You're thinking too small.
Shit. Huh?
This is the most game-breaking Maniple. And I'm
Really?
really sad they didn't nerf it harder. Because here's the thing, Dan. What are Knights really good at saving against? And not care if they fail their save?
Everything?
Shield strippers.
Yep.
Knights do not care if you're hit by shield strippers.
Sure. So Lancer Knight's like, volcanic.
So you shoot a Titan and you divert the Mega Bolter to the Knights. Okay, cool. So you're forcing your opponent to play with split fire, to maybe shoot the Knights with like their Bellicosa and their missiles or whatever at the Titan after the Knights are dealt with. But then they're not turning. Like, it forces your opponent to play a game that they don't necessarily want to play, essentially. Yeah. Because the Knights soak up all the shield stripping power.
Okay. I wasn't even thinking about that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, and you're making it -1 to hit the Titans, so they don't necessarily want to shoot at the Titan.
Yeah.
But depending on their weapons, it might be of no use against the Knight.
Yeah, I was literally thinking about the -1 hit. I wasn't even thinking about like oh god, that's actually oof.
Yeah.
You divert the shields and you just tank the Bellicosa because oh no, you knocked out a shield. So sad. Anyway, this is a very mean Maniple in the right person's hands. And it pairs nice with Solaria because they're Warhounds with the -1 to hit. It's an extra -1 is a -2.
Oh yeah, oh my
Yep.
god.
Yeah.
You,
Like
you
you could
need
do
to
some
take out the
nasty
knights.
stuff with
That's what it
this.
boils down to. You have to have
And if you
stuff
want to protect your
them out.
knights, you
Mm.
drop a concealment barrage, not concealment, the blind barrage
Yeah.
to protect the knights. That's a -2 to hit the knights. So oh, I'll kill the knights first. Well, it's -2 to hit the knights because the blind barrage. Because
you
it's
can do some nasty
obscuring
things.
terrain that they don't get the benefit of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to break that Maniple. And I'm sad that didn't get the reroute command check thing. Also, I'm mad that the knights
no
are
one
fucking
what?
leaping 10 stories in the sky to intercept a hit off a Warlord's head. But
I'm
that's
surprised
its
no
own thing.
one runs it. I'm okay.
People do. People do.
I-
When this dropped, one of my buddies ran this a lot.
Okay.
It's why I'm such an ardent user of Melta-Cannons.
Why I'm an ardent user of Quake Cannons. Dave actually is the reason why.
Because
Yeah.
there's no Quake Cannons on Reaver Titans.
Yep.
Oh, well, I think Warlords.
Yeah. It's before they dropped the Warbringer, and I didn't want to invest in an entire Warlord just to counter Knights.
Yeah. No.
Because
Agreed.
these were also like 1,200 point games you were playing at the time.
All right.
So yeah.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and move on to try to keep these last few here as fast. I'll go through.
Oh
Ignis.
yeah, keep it going.
That's all right. So Ignis, it's 3 Warhounds, Sarasis Night Banner. You can take 2 more Warhounds if you want, 2 more Sarasis Night Banners. So consuming fire. Units with this Maniple add 1 to the die value of any weapons with a Firestorm trait. So they get extra shots off of that. In addition, they may reroll armor rolls of 1 for an attack made with a weapon with a Firestorm trait. Sarasis Night Banners with the Ignis Light Maniple must be upgraded to a Sarasis Night Archerons. In addition, Night Banners included in this Maniple within 6 inches of a Titan from the same Maniple may be issued a first fire or full stride order without needing to make a command check. If that Titan was already issued that order. So if the Titan takes a first fire or a full stride, they're close enough, they'll get it as well. I don't run a lot of template stuff, but if you do like that idea, which means you want to get close, because if you're going to run this, you do need to get up in someone's face, then I do think it could do a lot of good or just a lot of fun. But since you can't aim a template, I think they always have that chance of struggling, because you won't get to choose where it's actually going to go. And you might keep hitting different spots, so it could take forever. Because what, it's 3 on it normally, so you're getting 4.
Yep.
I mean, that's good. You know, that's definitely good, but I don't know.
What you do is you hurt something with a flamer, and you follow up with a smash attack.
Yeah.
Like you get right under those shields with it.
Yeah.
And then the knights have the chain fists. So they have rending, which means they could theoretically also do damage as a follow-up with melee weapons.
Oh, that's the other weapon on an Archeron?
Yep.
Okay.
The chain fist.
I wasn't sure what
It's like
what their
it's a
weapons
tiny
were.
chain fist.
Okay. Yeah, strength 7.
Not bad.
Yeah, rending. Yeah, rending. That's not bad.
It's an alternative to the Lupercal Maniple.
Yeah.
It's something that Audax could take. It's one of the 3 that Audax gets access to. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's worth playing at least once just to see what happens. I don't say it's something that you must, you must try this.
Yeah.
It's
it seems like it's a fun
It's
one.
It's a proxy it list.
Yeah.
Proxy it, see how you like it. If you love it, okay, maybe invest. But otherwise, don't buy that box of knights, because those knights are really bad otherwise.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. Absolutely agreed. You don't want them in any other
Proxy
case.
your Lancers that day. Be like, oh, okay, that was fun. And then never do it again.
Never do it again. I'll take the Precept. Wait, can you guys hear me? Oh,
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Keep going.
Like,
We
this
weren't
is gonna-
stopping you.
Oh, it's so weird. Like, oh yeah.
It's the
So
other
preset Battleline
Axiom.
Yeah, there's the other accent. Like I like this though because it gives you variants. One Warlord, one Warbringer, and one Warhound mandatory. Optional is one Reaver, one Warhound. So this is actually I think better than the Axiom because it's literally you have the one Warlord, you could take one Warbringer, you could take one Reaver, you could take two Warhounds. I think this is the Axiom of the Axioms, and this, it's better too probably. But anyway, flexible tactics, the start of each strategy phase before any orders are issued. The controlling player may choose a single order for the precept maniple. If multiple precept maniples are present on the battle group, each maniple can pick a different order. Until the end of the round, Titans within this maniple can be issued the order on a 2+, ignoring any modifiers. Any Titans issue an order other than the one chosen makes a command check as normal. I like this one. This one's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It gives you the variance of if you have like if you want to run one of each Reaver or one of each Titan, you can. If you really want to get an order out, you have a 2+ to get it out. And it doesn't hurt your command checks. Like it doesn't say, oh, you got to do a different command check -2. No, just take a normal command check as normal. And you ignore modifiers. I like this one. I have literally no
This is
problem.
another nice forgiving one because
Yes.
Yeah.
whatever order you need, you have access to easily. So if
Oh,
you
so-
know, oh shit, I needed emergency repair or I'm screwed, or I better get that first fire to get the win here, you do it. As long as you don't roll a 1, you get it. It's very, very nice to have that availability. The range of Titans means you have play in all levels of the field. Maybe not so much in melee, because the Reaver's the optional component, but like you get to do a lot of stuff with it. I like this one as in like literally it's literally a variant of the Axiom Maniple in the fluff of it. It's a nice one.
And it's a nice, easy one as well if you're new to the game. All you have to figure out the one order you like. What order do you want to? What order do you think is going to be the cool order that you're going to need this turn? Yeah, everyone's a 2-up then. Go for it. You know, some of these other ones you really have to put thought into them. You don't have to put that much thought into this one.
It's like you could pick whether you want to be a Perpetua or a Fortis or a Myrmidon as you need, almost.
Yeah.
Just without like the extreme end of the buff.
Yeah. All right, that gets us to the last one.
The very last one. Traders only. Loyalists, I'm sorry. You can't touch this.
No. Sorry.
Well, not even traders. It has to be Legio Audax.
It's only Legio Audax.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's only one Legio that gets this. So this is a little special bonus for you. Does anybody really love this Maniple?
I've
Or
honestly,
really know the ins and
I don't
outs?
play Legio Audax. I've never read the
I
thing.
don't play Legio Audax.
And this thing is.
Am I
it's
the only one that knows this?
Probably.
There's a lot of
I've
words.
never heard of this.
There
That's
is
the
a
problem. That's why I
lot
haven't
of
read it
words.
before. There's so much.
So if you know Gene Stealer cults in 40k, this
Yeah.
turns your army into Gene Stealer cults. So, being Legio Audax, the mandatory components are 3 Warhound Titans. The optional components are, shockingly, 2 Warhound Titans. This is because Audax can only have Titans of scale 7 or less. Their trait is Pack Ambush. Anti-Light Maniples can only include Audax Titans. Surprise, surprise. So, you don't deploy normally. Instead, what you do is you place blips. 1 blip per Titan you have. And you're on the battlefield more than 6 inches from the enemy deployment zone. And they count as deployed when this happens for first turn. So you're going to get first turn on the D10. After both players have finished deploying, the Titans from the Maniple are deployed anywhere within 3 inches of the marker. Sorry, of a marker. Which means you could have 2 Titans off of 1 marker. Or all your Titans off 1 marker. And it's within, not wholly within. So you just have to get the edge of your base to be within range of that marker.
So you could fit quite a few.
Yep. However, you must be at least 50% obscured from any enemy unit within line of sight of the Titan. If you can't do this, you go into the normal deployment zone.
Yeah. If you're outside your deployment zone, if you can't be obscured. And if you can't fit within that 3 inches, you go to your own deployment zone.
Right. So what this Maniple does is it's very dependent on the terrain you're playing.
Yeah. You'd
If
be
you
able to
don't
get at least a
have
few.
heavy line of sight blocking,
Yeah.
you're gonna struggle. I watched someone try out this Maniple that just got completely denied because their opponent had lots of small. I think they had a bunch of knights in the list, and the knights were able to draw line of sight around all the nearby buildings, and it forced the guy all the way back to his own deployment zone because he was too aggressive with his ambush markers.
The,
It's very terrain dependent.
this one
But
feels...
the ability to drop Warhounds 6 inches away is huge.
Yeah. This one to me feels like if you're running Audax and you want to run this Maniple, you know, you have a discussion with your opponent and say, like, to run this, like, we're gonna need good terrain. If for some reason maybe you don't use a lot of line of sight blocking terrain, or if terrain's usually something lighter on your table. Same thing, like if someone's gonna run a knight army, you throw extra terrain on to help them out to make it a more fun game for both sides. You do the same thing here. You want to make sure, like, not that they can put everything 6 inches away, but they should have a chance. And you should have to say, ooh, they could probably get over there. Maybe I need to be over here instead. Like, you know, make sure it's fair for them to be able to use their abilities.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. That is neat. I do like it. I don't run that Legio, and even if I wanted to just counts as, I don't have enough Warhounds for all of that. But I do like it. I do think it's neat. But all right, that we probably would have made it through the whole thing without the news. The news stuff was like 40 minutes.
It's probably worth splitting this into 2 separate, like, demi episodes, just so people could get what they want to get.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
Agreed.
it's what, 3 hours long? Ugh.
Yeah, about that. But hey, you know, we can always do long recordings, and I can always cut them. But either way, all right. We'll close it out here. So, as always, I do want to thank anyone for watching, listening, in any way that you do this. Remember, we put this out on whatever your favorite podcatcher is, and also put this onto our YouTube channel. It's Train Kickers Podcast. As always, want to thank and ask for, you know, any feedback, reviews, all that kind of stuff, likes, all that really helps people be able to find us. As we go further along, what I'd like to, so I actually have off this week, my plan is to start figuring out to actually be able to start doing some recordings of actual games and all like that. It'll probably be a little rough in the start, but we'll try to get better as we go along with that. If you have any questions or comments or anything like that, of course, you can leave it on the feed on the YouTube for this one, or feel free to reach out through email, trainkickersnj@gmail.com. Otherwise, on behalf of my co-hosts here, have some good gaming.